to yet another analog livestream. My name is Sigma. With me tonight I have Dr. Tin Can.
Hello.
And Son of Ifrit. Whose name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
That's the only personal opinion. That's like the only good thing that ever came out of 21 or 22 Jump Street. It was a good thing, though. So, yes, tonight we are going to be getting back into Twilight as usual, but first and foremost, a few interesting things happened over the weekend, and I want to take a second, if we can, to talk about them. Very specifically, it involves a big-nosed British man. From The Guardian, FCC claims comment system attacked after John Oliver's net neutrality segment. Yeah, you'll remember back in 2014 when net neutrality was a major issue that John Oliver brought up during the herpiter.
I mean, as the version of it that John Oliver brought up, yes, I remember when it happened in 2014.
Yeah. Well, to bring people up to speed who haven't heard of it, first of all, net neutrality is basically the idea that it's not even that internet service providers have to provide the best service they can to everybody. It's just that exactly, they just have to provide the same kind of service to everybody.
They can't make any favorites. Like high-speed highways, for example.
Yeah,
Right. For Affinity gets the same kind of treatment as Facebook does.
Yeah. They can't fast-track any websites. They can't throttle any websites. They have to treat all websites as equals in terms of how quickly they kind of queue up. And internet service providers do not like this. So in 2014, they tried to strike it down, at which point John Oliver got involved, told his audience, which at the time was kind of limited, actually, to
go to the FCC websites.
To go to the FCC web
and comment about any disagreements you have with it.
And so many people went that the website crashed.
See, the thing you fail to realize in this realization right now is a lot of people watch, Last Week Tonight on the internet. So most of his fan base are internet people.
And since we're already, watching Last Week Tonight anyway, navigating over to the FCC website is a natural next step.
Exactly.
Like for the FCC, this is a bigger deal than what they really think. Like this is gonna, if they strike down the net neutrality rules, this is going to affect a lot of people. This isn't just going to websites. This is like the PC gaming culture is already saying that this is going to cripple or kill PC gaming if this happens.
Yeah. Let me just say this much. Just to kind of wrap the whole thing up. Actually, I'm going to save this comment for later, because it's kind of a poignant one. And yet also kind of a dumb one. Silly one. Anyway. That happened in 2014. So, really, that's not news. That's, by internet standards, that's history.
Ancient, even.
Well, you know how they say history repeats itself? Well, here we go.
It always happens.
Now, unfortunately, according to the subtitle, the late night host told viewers to flood the Federal Communications Commission website with comments, but the agency says issues were from DDoS attacks. So yes, once again, this is happening. FCC wants to get rid of net neutrality. John Oliver points this out to the rest of us. We all flood in. Website goes down.
Much more force this time around.
Yep, and I know because it happened to me!
See, there's a thing. The potential for being a malicious it's there, but it's slim.
We're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Let me just kind of get into reading this. The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, claimed on Monday that its online comment system was attacked hours after comedian John Oliver called on viewers of his HBO series Last Week Tonight to file comments to urge the agency to protect open internet rules. Well, yeah. I mean, just the opening sentence there does kind of tell you I don't know. This seems a little bit convenient.
Yeah.
But the FCC's comment system became unreachable after Oliver's show. The FCC said the issues were related to orchestrated denial of service attacks, not volume of calls. And let me just cut right in there, because you know what a denial of service attack is?
I was going to ask, because I was pretty sure.
It's a massive volume of calls, basically.
I was pretty sure that's what it was.
Literally, the only difference between a distributed denial of service attack and getting so much traffic and getting so much actual user traffic that your website just cannot deal is whether it's millions of people across the United States or even across the world, or one fat neckbeard in his basement who's managed to link several different computers together through various different malwares.
See, this is exactly this. The chance of actually being malicious is very slim at best.
Right.
Because not only is this too convenient, because not only is this too convenient, but this can't just be malicious. This happens several times, not just on the FCC and a later example. Earlier example was the Obamacare website.
Right. The Affordable Care Act website was infamous for its crashing issues.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of PC games and MMOs, for example, go through that during their earliest stages. Yeah. SimCity, for example. What else? Final Fantasy 14 when it was just starting.
I'd be surprised if World of Warcraft even didn't have a phase where that happened.
Probably did, seeing as RuneScape did. But
I think they did, but I don't think it lasted as long.
Right, and again, considering this is internet stuff we're talking about, whatever happened is now literally ancient history for World of Warcraft. But yeah,
it's still good enough examples to
actually knowing World of Warcraft, it's probably been woven into the lore.
Also true.
But examples like that just prove that it couldn't be malicious, because then it's just it's just massive floodings.
Right.
Overflowing of servers. I've dealt with that before in my class before.
It's a thing that happens, and it happens especially with a lot of government agency websites, because that shit tends to be run on a fucking shoestring. Like, the government does not understand tech.
Goodness no.
The government really does not understand tech. But more than anything, they appear to just have a really shit memory, because I want to reiterate this, and fortunately, so did The Guardian. 3 years ago, Oliver's call for tough net neutrality rules to prevent internet service providers from slowing traffic of rivals or favoring their own products or clients went viral and helped to drive a record 4 million comments to the FCC. 4 million comments!
Now that is actually really impressive.
That's greater than 1% of the population of the United States, and if that doesn't sound like a lot to you, I want to remind all of you that that's more people probably than vote during the midterms.
Yeah, almost certainly, I'd say.
Like, it's hard to drive citizen engagement in this country.
But hey, if you threaten our internet, you're going to get it.
If you threaten to take certain things away from us, for example, people are going to respond very negatively towards it, because
definitely,
as some people, including people in the government, don't seem to understand, the internet is very much needed in today's society.
Oh goodness, yes.
Yes,
like
indeed.
most job applications anymore need the internet to be used, which is very sad in my case.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. Normally it's a case of the government just not understanding the importance of the internet to people's everyday lives. In this particular case, I really don't think it's a case of ignorance so much as it really is a case of outright malice, because Well, let's just get into this
mean-
next paragraph here. Now, the new Republican FCC chairman, Ajit Pai, has pledged to take a weed whacker to those rules, and Oliver has once more joined the fray. Every internet group needs to come together like you successfully did 3 years ago. Gamers, YouTube celebrities, Instagram models, Tom from MySpace, if you're still alive, we need all of you, Oliver said. Now, I want to point this out here. If you've never heard of Ajit Pai, you're in very good
I
company.
need to disappear for a second. I'll be back.
Okay. Well, if you've never heard of Ajit Pai, you're not alone. Most people haven't. The only reason I know about him is because I keep my ear to the ground obsessively when it comes to politics, and he was just one of many contentious entries that the Trump administration made as far as their cabinet was concerned. Just same as all the others. Big fight, big brouhaha over the approval process, and then eventually they went in anyway. Thanks, Democrats. Democrats.
Why are we thanking the Democrats?
Mostly so I had an excuse to A, make a reference to thanks,
Ah.
and B, so I had an excuse to use the rim shot.
Ah, okay.
The ever-expanding
Yeah.
analog soundboard. Soundboard? Soundboard. The idea of a soundboard is, quite frankly, terrifying.
I think it's pretty cool.
Reputants of Borg. I love
Hold on, say the look. We are Locutus of Borg.
I love.
You guys
You will
didn't
be
hear it.
assimilated.
Yeah.
By rim shots.
My milk.
Anyway, back to the point, though. Ajit Pai is not just some random Indian dude that Trump pulled out of a 7-Eleven. That's racist. I'm sorry. I had to say it.
Yeah, who cares?
Hello, would you like a Slurpee? Well, Indian people probably care.
That's racist.
Yeah. Thanks,
Welcome to
Apu.
7-Eleven. My name is Gandhi. May I take your order?
Gandhi!
Boy.
Gandhi at the
That
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven takes your order. What kind of upscale bullshit
I
is
know.
this?
Hey. Gandhi always takes it a step up.
Okay.
He's got nukes and he's not afraid to use them. You think he
Oh,
won't?
no.
You think he won't introduce active service into 7-Eleven?
Oh no.
Anyway,
7-Elevens are stupid Indian embassies. Thank you.
Rainbow Slurpee
So-
with this. I have an order here for a Rainbow Slurpee with a side of plutonium. Here you go. Have a good day. Fuck off.
So there was a point?
Yes, there was. But we had to be racist first.
I guess so.
We're horrible people. Anyway, Ajit Pai is not just a complete rando. He is the former attorney for Verizon Wireless. And I think you
Great.
can kind of see where this is going.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just the revolving door of politics and big business all over again. You'll spend a few years working for Verizon you spend a few years working as Verizon's, errand boy in the courts. Then you spend a few years working as Verizon's errand boy in the White House. And then you get to enjoy a nice, cushy semi-retirement as a member of the Board of Trustees. Something like that.
Both sides, okay? Both Republicans and Democrats are like that, unfortunately.
Oh, ain't it the fucking truth. Don't even get me started. Anyway. Here's the thing about choosing Ajit Pai for this particular... It's the same idea as, say, putting Betsy DeVos in charge of education. The entire idea is that Trump is putting people into positions... he's putting into positions people who actively want those positions destroyed, essentially. And Ajit Pai is just the latest and most notable example, at least for our ilk, I suppose.
And he He has a Reese's coffee mug for some reason. I don't know
Oh,
why.
the Reese's mug. Don't even get me started on the fucking Reese's mug. Hold on. I gotta look this up real quick. Just give me...
I mean, I like just peanut butter cups as well. Come on. That's so...
I don't even have words to what you have mentioned here.
Well, we're doing
Oh,
Slayer.
you're
I have
about
no
to
idea.
have even less words, trust me.
I guess so.
So,
Should I be worried?
no. It's just an Indian man with a comically large mug.
Oh, okay.
Is it one spoonful of ice cream kind of comically huge, or?
A bit more than one. That is the infamous Reese mug. It's the size of his fucking head!
Some coffee, only one cup.
I mean, you'd think he'd get a lot more done in the day than just try and fail to destroy net neutrality with that much coffee. But, yeah, that's the motherfucker right there. That's the guy.
Well then.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the story at hand. He is now the new FCC chairman, and he has pledged to take a weed whacker to the net neutrality rules, and Oliver has once more joined the fray. Already said that bit. Sorry, excuse me. We keep getting off track so much that I'm losing my place. Again. So here's what happened after that. And this is where the bullshit starts. Beginning on Sunday night at midnight, our analysis reveals that the FCC was subject to multiple distributed denial of service attacks, DDoS. Agency Chief Information Officer David Bray said in a statement. These were deliberate attempts by external actors to bombard the FCC's comment system with a high amount of traffic to our commercial cloud host. I mean, if the American people are external actors, sure. Sure.
Because people are more, a lot of people are more alert towards this stuff because this ain't the first time you guys have done this before.
Yeah, this is something I wanted to say a lot earlier, but I decided to hold my tongue on it until now because it's an important note to make. The internet is a very divisive place. Nobody agrees on anything on the internet. Except...
That's not true.
For net neut... You motherfucker. There is one thing that everybody on the internet agrees on, though, and that's that net neutrality is a greatly important thing. Like, it's imperative that the internet be run equally for everybody, every site, every user, everyone. No one should have to deal with throttling. Nobody should have to deal with, like, the pay-to-play system that would inevitably come out with creating, like, a paid fast-track system. Which, you know, that's what these guys want to... That's what these guys want to do. They want to be able to charge web hosts for faster connection speed.
Yeah.
And that's some old...
gonna kill them.
That's some old bullshit.
Like they say that if this happens, this is going to kill a bunch of... This is potentially going to kill a bunch of upstart companies.
Oh, it'll kill startups. It'll increase subscription fees. You'll see a hell of a lot more advertisement, and it'll be a lot more intrusive. I can almost assure you of that much. This is the sort of thing that would negatively affect everybody on the internet, and that's why everybody on the internet hates it. That's why everybody on the internet is actually united on this, and that's no small feat, because normally we all hate each other. But, like, it doesn't matter if you're, like, a hardcore feminist, or a gamer, or a red pillar, or an internet atheist, or one of those weird vegan raw...
One of those crazy vegans, hippies. Or a part of the skeptic community.
Yeah, or if you sexually identify as an attack helicopter.
Hey, that's an insult to me, you douchebag. Point, point is, this will affect everybody if this happens.
Mm-hmm. And that's why so many people are vehemently against losing net neutrality. And that's an important thing to hold on to. But unfortunately, all we ever get from the government these days is a deaf ear and alternative facts. Namely, trying to paint a massive influx of comments on net neutrality as a distributed denial of service attack.
Yep.
That supposedly, quote, tied up the servers and prevented them from responding to people attempting to submit comments. Yeah, no.
I mean, that happened,
no.
sure.
Like, did you guys not learn your lesson from the Obamacare conundrum that happened when?
Man, I didn't even learn their own lesson from 3 years ago.
Like, you'll need to upgrade your servers. That's just your problem here. Or stop pulling this crap.
Take just a few couple out of your accounts. Pain you so hard. You guys are secretly Jewish Lizard Illuminati members.
Yeah. Hi, Alex Jones.
I don't like I'm putting chemicals in the water. Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so
just take a few $1,000. Just take a few $1,000, $10,000 maybe, and just upgrade your. Gotta be wearing equipment for this.
It's gotta be, but like, then they're spending their money on things.
Do
that.
You are ruling a powerhouse of a country, and yet you got the nation running on potato computers.
But Ifrit, if we update our computers, how are we supposed to pay for the F-35 Lightning?
Screw you! I'm an IT nerd. I can't take this crap anymore.
I mean, I have an entire rant about the F-35 and how shit it is, but like, yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, I wouldn't be surprised if half the group are running Windows 95 or DOS command prompts.
It's actually funny. My dad, who is completely computer illiterate, joked about it being DOS before. Of course, having had to personally navigate. Now, I need to point this out because the Guardian article here, in fact, no article I've read on this subject has mentioned this at all, but the FCC's actually made it much, much more difficult just to submit a comment these days. You have to have, like, a specific, docket number, basically, that's, specific to the subject you want to talk about. And if you don't have that, you can't comment. And they don't give it to you. So where are you supposed to find it?
That's a great question. But I guess in a way they have learned their lesson from 3 years ago. They just didn't get a good enough system to block us.
They learned their lesson 3 years ago. They just want to make it harder for the American public to actually do things.
Exactly. So, what a surprise, they learned exactly the wrong lesson.
I didn't say it was the right lesson.
Yeah, well, nobody did. And wouldn't you know it? Leave it to these idiots to pick exactly the wrong thing to take away. Anyway.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we do have some people who are in a position of relative power, like John Oliver, for example, who, in addition to reporting on this, actually worked with his web team to create a quick link that would take you directly to the portion of the FCC submission page where you could just directly submit a comment, specifically in regards to net neutrality. Like, it does all the legwork of navigating the site up to that point for you, and the rest is just you typing in whatever you want to type in, which is fantastic. And probably is what contributed to the site crashing, let's be honest, but there's that, and there's also people like Evan Greer, the campaign director for the internet activist group Fight for the Future, who called for an inquiry in regards to this whole DDoS claim. This,
If it was
this
if it was a
alternative
noticeable,
fact, if you will.
if it was a noticeable DDoS attack, then it would be very recognizable.
Yeah, which is
That's simple.
Which is why he's calling for an inquiry. Quote, the FCC should immediately release their logs to an independent security analyst who can determine what really happened here. The public deserves to know, and the FCC has a responsibility to maintain a functioning website to receive feedback from the public. She said. She? Evan Greer's a she?
Well,
I think so. I don't know.
She sexually identifies as an attack helicopter.
It's all news to me.
And then we've got the then we've got the Guardian e-begging. Thanks, guys. It's kind of an abrupt way to end the thing, but like you kind of get
an idea.
The thing I really want to just bring attention to here isn't so much that John Oliver did it again, and by it I mean John Oliver killed the FCC website again, which, you know, don't get me wrong, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But this is alternative facts at its finest. There is nothing that the FCC could produce to suggest, you know, unequivocally that they were hit with a DDoS attack the same, like, mere hours after a Last Week Tonight segment aired about contacting the FCC. That specific, you know, from a show that last time it covered its subject also crashed the FCC website. This is This is the sort of thing that you just expect. It's a natural side effect of John Oliver reporting on net neutrality. And it's a fantastic one at that, I should say. But, like, the FCC has released statements that, you know, they've lied about the DDoSing thing. We've been over that. It's a lie. That's all it is. It's not true. Unequivocally. There's no way it's true. Because it's just way too fucking convenient. But, in addition to that, I read in a different article released by The Hill on the same subject that this time around they decided, we're not going to be paying attention to the amount of comments given. We're going to be paying attention to the actual content of the comments.
Oh, so now you do?
Yeah, I know, right? Now, granted, I think it's going to go without... I think it's going to go without saying that just because the sheer quantity of comments they're going to be getting just from one side, I think there's still going to be a good point made. But this is just their way of bullshitting themselves out of having to be responsible for for executing the will of the American people.
See,
like,
I am predicting. I'm sorry. I am predicting with the comments that it's going to double the amount than compared to last time.
Oh, at least. Like, here's the thing. When... You have to excuse the squeaking. Got a drinking glass next to me here, and it's condensing all over the table. Which means I have to wipe the table dry, which causes squeakies. Anyway, but yeah, it is, you're probably right, at least doubled. And I think that's actually a very conservative estimate, because in 2014, when the first net neutrality story came out, that was kind of when John Oliver's show was in its infancy, really. Like, it was, I think that was like season 1. 1 or 2.
Sounds about
something
right.
like that.
Season 1, season...
And his viewership at the time was, like, it wasn't tiny, but it was an HBO show, and it was an HBO show and a YouTube show, and that automatically means, like, that alone automatically means you're not going to be getting a very big audience to start off with, mostly because of how limited your advertising is going to be. But, you know, John Oliver, we already knew him from The Daily Show, thought he was funny, so a fair amount of people got in on the ground floor, but it was a small but devoted kind of following. After the first net neutrality story, his viewership ballooned. Like, it fucking blew up. And that's in no small part because news outlets actually reported on him reporting about it, as opposed to, actually reporting about net neutrality. Thanks, guys. Fuck you.
So, is there anything else about this that we're going to be talking about?
Well, I mean, I do want to say real quick, this is far from the only story I've seen. In fact, I mentioned a story from The Hill. That's only one story on this subject that I saw from The Hill in the past couple of days about this. And it was also the only one that was even remotely even-handed.
Huh.
Like, let me just hold on. Let me find you. Let me look at a couple more. No. I had it, and now I've lost it. That's annoying. This might be good. The Verge, no. The Hill, here we go. Let's see. We've got... Well, oh, come on. I know I had more than this. Here we go. Thank you. Okay, so here's a few of the headlines from The Hill in the last couple of days about this subject. The first one is the one that I actually read. FCC site crashes after John Oliver segment. Okay. Next, HBO's John Oliver needs a net neutrality reality check. Fuck you!
Wow.
I get that The Hill is old school news media. I get that. I get that. You're a newspaper. That's great. But you're on the internet, and you honestly think that... And, by the way, just to prove my point, the next article, what John Oliver won't tell you about net neutrality. Fuck off!
Totally not pushing an agenda or anything.
Yeah, I know. And, like, y'all are an internet newspaper now, basically. You're an internet news source. What the fuck are you doing? You do realize that net neutrality is the entire reason you guys aren't getting throttled right now, right? Because, let me tell you, Ajit Pai, just bear in mind, Ajit Pai might, like, his former employer was Verizon, but his current employer is Donald fucking Trump, who is no fan of the media.
Goodness, no.
So, if you think for half a goddamn second that connection between Trump to Ajit Pai to Verizon isn't going to result in you guys getting fucking throttled by Verizon's wireless networks, if this whole thing falls through, oh boy, are you fucking off the mark. See, that's the problem. You spend so much time sucking the dick on, from career politicians and from corrupt corporate executives and all that, and you think suddenly that they're your friends. Oh, no, you're just the cock sleeve. You're just there to suck their dick. They don't like you. They like that they're getting their dick sucked. They don't like you.
That's why I need to be critical of everybody.
I mean...
Well, of politicians, at least. Of all politicians,
Yes.
at least.
Well, I mean, you gotta do your homework.
Very true.
Like, don't automatically distrust everybody just because they're a politician.
Well,
But But whatever they say, you fucking research that shit.
I'm gonna give you an example here. From True Capitalist Radio, we had Ghost, that was a humongous Trump supporter. That's just putting it lightly. And even agreeing with him at times when people didn't agree with him, saying that he's loyal to his president.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice Slayer had gotten in here, and he's quite enjoying. I love. Hold on. I love.
But the thing is that there's a quote that I remember. I can't remember the person who said it, but I remember this quote exactly. if you agree with me on some of my points, that's good. But if you agree with me on all my points, you're delusional.
Pretty much.
But he agrees with himself on all of his points.
Well, he is delusional, so.
You
This
know
is
what?
Ghost
That's a
we're
good
talking about. He's
point.
delusional.
I hope he realizes the irony of his statement. But he's Ghost, so probably not.
Is there any more we're going to be bringing up for this?
No. The chat's starting to get a little bit. The chat's starting to think it's dragging, and I'm kind of in agreement with them. I think we've
I'm sorry if we can. I actually did find a news story. I just yesterday.
Think it can wait? Like, there's always we could always end the stream with that.
I don't know because I don't know how people are gonna react to it.
Well, give us the quick rundown and.
Okay. Just double check the sources from it, but this is from the Daily Wire only because I like the wording a bit better.
Okay.
Sure.
Just give us the headline and we'll see if things go from there.
Okay. Harvard to hold blacks only graduation ceremony.
Nope. We are not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Nope. So much nope.
I'm going to at least say this. People gun Alabama's case for one town wanting to segregate itself, but with the deal at Harvard, people are congratulating it for showing the accomplishments from the black folks studying in the area, while at the same time having to deal with the outside grievances, while dealing with outside issues.
Like
double standards.
It's a complicated issue and one that I really don't want to get into on this particular stream, but oh boy,
that's all I'll say.
From what little of it I know of it right now, I don't oppose it, but I don't
think any of us are truly qualified to really get into an in-depth discussion about racism and implied racism and anything of the sort.
Yeah, we're literally three white guys.
There's also that. I do appreciate you bringing it up as a news story, but I don't think we're anywhere close.
Probably ain't the venue for it.
Because I'm a Southern boy, I have no rights in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm a cishet shitlord. Even though I'm only one of those things. Two if you count the shitlord.
If we're gonna be stereotyping ourselves, I am totally the Tumblr snowflake.
Anyway, let's get to it.
Yes, indeed, let's. Okay, so last time the truth come out. Edward Cullen his face.
And who's the heel?
Probably Jonah?
I don't fucking know.
Jonah!
Who the fuck's the werewolf again?
And this time... Jonah! I, for one, am Team Jonah.
Listen,
you fucking...
I pay attention.
I'm Team Apache.
It starts with a J, right?
Okay, so last time Jacob, who we finally got introduced to, Captain Shirtless, told Bella a story about how the Cullens are some sort of race of ancient people-eating monsters, and she believed him.
Right off the bat.
Fucking rube. And this time, apparently, nightmares. I mean, it's only...
Yeah, back.
Okay. I mean, nightmares are only every day I have to read this. Just gonna spam that room shot. Why not? I told Charlie I had a lot of homework to do and that I didn't want anything to eat. And, of course, he didn't take that as something is wrong.
Nope.
Oh, okay. There was a basketball game on that he was excited about, though, of course, I had no idea what was special about it. I don't.
It's sports.
And I
People
have
watch
no.
sports.
And I have no idea what was so important about that I that you had to italicize it. Again. So he wasn't aware of anything. So he wasn't aware of anything unusual in my face or tone, because dads are idiots. Once in the
laugh track.
I don't have a laugh track.
That's why I have to say it.
Damn it! Now I need to add a laugh track to this fucking thing.
I love.
Anyway, once in my room, I locked the door. I dug through my desk until I found my old headphones, and I plugged them into my little CD player. I picked up a CD that Phil had given to me for Christmas, because that's an important detail.
Totally.
It was one of his favorite bands, but they used a little too much bass and shrieking for my tastes. And that's why you're a pleb. I popped it into place and lay down on my bed, so apparently it's not that far off from your taste then. I put the volumes on, hit play, and turned up the volume until it hurt my ears. Oh no, she's hit her goth phase!
Please, if it's shrieking, it's probably her emo phase.
This is fair. And even worse.
Oh god,
At least goths are hot.
Her mom's boyfriend really likes emo bands. That's a troubling realization right there.
Especially, he's a minor league baseball player who likes metal bands. Phil is officially in the running for biggest loser ever. Which says a lot coming from me. Oh,
I mean, I wasn't laughing there, no.
Oh, that's a self-burn.
Yes, it is.
Anybody have burn heal? Anyway. I closed my eyes, but the light still intruded, so I added a pillow over the top half of my face. Nobody understands. I concentrated very carefully on the music, trying to understand the lyrics, to unravel the complicated drum patterns. By the third time I'd listened through the CD, I knew all the words to the choruses, at least. I was surprised to find that I really did like the band after all, once I got past the blaring noise. I'll have to thank Phil again. Now, of course we can't tell you which band that was, because that would be product placement. So instead we're just going to hop into our Volvo and... Oh, wait.
Well, knowing Stephanie Myers, it's probably Walkman brand CD player.
Sure. Let's go with that. It amazes me the amount of detail she's willing to put into things that literally just matter not at all. Like, there is no plot relevance to any of this.
Yep. But
all this is just
gotta be said.
This is just emo teen bullshit.
Well, yeah, you gotta
which explains
develop your character into the exact character you've been telling us the entire time.
And I wonder why this is so popular with teenage girls. Oh my god, she's just like me. Never doing that. I wish I could say I'm never doing that again, but I'm probably gonna end up doing that again. Anyway.
What I miss?
You missed Bella being emo.
Of course I did.
Daisy.
Yep.
And it worked. The shattering beats made it impossible for me to think. Oh no, she's been drowned out by the fat beatses. Which was the whole purpose of the exercise. I listened to the CD again and again until I was singing along with all the songs. Screaming along with all the songs? Until finally I fell asleep. Yeah, we're pretty sure
Poor Charlie.
Poor Charlie. Thank you, Mordreen. I opened my eyes to a familiar place. This is not my beautiful house, and you're not my beautiful wife. Aware in some corner of my consciousness that I was dreaming, I recognized the green light of the forest.
So you're in Washington again.
I could hear the waves crashing against the rocks somewhere nearby. And I knew that if I found the ocean, I'd be able to see the sun. Okay. Oh! Just... That is some choppy shit right there. Like, A. Never. Ever. Ever! Except sometimes, but never! Start a sentence with a conjunction. And it's not like it was necessary in this case, because these two sentences, if the trackpad will behave, these two sentences are easily short enough that they could be combined into a single compound sentence with just a comma and the conjunction.
I mean, that's definitely true.
Why do I have to explain basic grammatical structure to a 40-some-year-old woman? 50-some? 40-some? I don't give some.
Literary agencies, that's why.
Yes.
Hold on, let me check.
Poetic license?
Okay, Google. Oops.
Okay, Google.
Okay, Google. How old is Stephanie Meyer?
Old enough to know better.
43 years old.
Okay, there we go.
That's younger than I was expecting, actually.
She was born in 1973.
Huh.
Well,
Right. Anyway, I was trying to follow the sound, but then Jacob Black was there. And then Hound was a zombie. That's abrupt. Tugging on my hand, pulling me back toward the blackest part of the forest. Jacob, what's wrong? I asked. His face was frightened as he yanked with all his strength against my resistance. I didn't want to go into the dark. I will not go quietly into the night with the shirtless puppy boy.
when you put it that way, why wouldn't you?
I can think of a few good reasons. Run, Bella! You have to run! He whispered, terrified. This way, Bella! I recognized Mike's voice calling out of the gloomy heart of the trees, but I couldn't see him. Oh no, it's a puppy orgy.
Oh God.
Oh,
I haven't seen this much bestiality since Sonic 06.
I love.
I love.
Hey, you're wrong.
Okay. Mike, couldn't see him. Why? I asked, still pulling against Jacob's grasp, desperate now to find the sun. But Jacob let go of my hand and yelped, suddenly shaking, falling to the dim forest floor. He twitched on the ground as I watched in horror. Oh my God, he ate too much pudding!
Oh my God, he's having a
Oh,
stroke.
horror.
Jacob! I screamed, but he was gone. In his place was a large red-brown wolf with black eyes. Well, spoilers.
Yeah. Jeez.
The wolf faced away from me, pointing toward the shore, the hair on the back of his shoulders bristling, low growls issuing from between his exposed fangs. Bella, run! Mike cried out again from behind me, but I didn't turn. I was watching a light coming toward me from the beach. Yes, please, move toward the light. I'm begging you.
Irons.
And then Edward stepped out from the trees, his skin faintly glowing, his eyes black and dangerous. Spoilers? He held up one hand and beckoned me to come to him. The wolf growled at my feet. I took a step forward toward Edward. He smiled then, and his teeth were sharp, pointed. Spoilers.
And then he ate the douchebag. The end.
Trust me, he purred. I took another step. The wolf launched himself across the space between me and the vampire, fame zanging for the juggalo. Yes.
Jugular.
No, for the juggalo! Fucking werewolves, how do they work?
I mean, that sounds more like a dream than
That's
like.
insane clown posse. They're infecting everything, I tell you.
I am a piece of shit. Hold
The new
on.
Stephanie Meyer's a juggalo.
Jeez.
Much
Or
better.
if we're going into Joe reference. My dog is a juggalo. I don't gonna appreciate it.
Fucking miracles.
Oh,
How do
jeez.
they work?
That's a dark place I never want to go back to. Ooh, I can still taste the Fago.
Big eye?
I mean,
It's
you're
okay.
not the only one.
It's okay,
but-
Dr. Pepper. You're the only soda for me. Well, okay, you're far from the only soda for me, but you're the important thing is you're not Fago, okay?
Oh, these ribs are delicious.
All right, now you can tell me I've
Ribs.
covered my Fago bottle's ears.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
The first is, why do you have a Fago bottle?
Because I'm drinking it.
Okay. That brings up a third question, but seeing as that is a matter of personal taste, I think maybe I'll just hold off on that one. The second question is, why does it have ears?
Well, apparently, so it can hear you, bad-mouthing it.
Slayer, how dare you become a juggalo? It's the music because of that.
No! No! No!
Ah, this is broken to the Sigma. Excellent. Now
It
I
broke me so hard that I had to. It broke me so hard that I had to actually spam Dr. Robotnik shouting no.
Sigma.exe has stopped working. You wanna sit in there and report?
You know, I'm strangely functional for a program that suddenly stopped working. Anyway,
You know, actually had someone in class that would send error reports if the computer stopped working.
What a
Well,
weirdo.
I know. You'd never send an error report. Those don't do anything.
That's true, though.
Anyway, my sudden movement caused the headphones to pull the CD player off the bedside table, and it clattered to the wooden floor. Well, there goes the warranty. My light was still on, and I was sitting fully dressed on the bed with my shoes on. I glanced disoriented at the clock on my dresser. It was 5:30 in the morning. Wow.
I don't own shoes. Where did these come from?
What? Zach, I know you live in the woods with a bunch of bugs, but not everybody goes through their entire life barefoot.
Well, they're wrong, man.
And if SpongeBob is to be believed, some people are born with them.
God. I forgot.
I was born with them.
These shoes have been on my feet for as long as I can remember.
Jeez.
I was born with my shoes. In fact, I was also born with a football.
Great. Now I need.
Shows a bitch.
Does this mean I need to get that? Does that mean I need to add that clip of Proton John shouting "Football" onto the soundboard?
No, it's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it.
No!
Robotnik spoke
Oh,
for
boy.
me.
Okay.
I groaned, fell back, and rolled over onto my face, kicking off my boots. My anti-gravity boots.
Is this Bella or is this you?
I don't wear boots, so yeah.
Oh.
I was too uncomfortable to get anywhere near sleep, though. I rolled back over and unbuttoned my jeans, yanking them off awkwardly as I tried to stay horizontal. This is the part where we leave. Sorry, kids, can't have jailbait here.
Don't let your kids watch this.
Wait, she took off her pants, but not her socks.
Yeah, don't you?
What?
I mean, it's just her and their computer anyway.
But isn't she trying to go to sleep?
I mean, well, first off,
Oh,
it
she's
depends on
trying to sleep. Oh.
It depends on how long her covers are. It could be shorts, and then she has to use socks to. And she has to wear socks to keep her feet warm.
All right. If that's the explanation, I will take it then. But that is the only time I will accept sleeping in just socks and not pants.
I still question that.
Actually, yeah.
Since when is a duvet that short?
You'd be surprised.
It's not like she's fucking tall or anything. I mean, I'm 6'2". I still fit under my duvet.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Granted, I sleep like a Goron, which basically means I'm just kind of curled up into a boulder shape, but...
Well, that would certainly help.
But I'm a cozy Goron, damn it.
I sleep like a corpse. I sleep like one of those corpses from Elder Scrolls. I just spread myself around to get comfortable.
Well, better than a corpse from Multiple 9. Whoop, 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 whoop. Just skating all over the ground. Okay. I could feel the braid in my hair, an uncomfortable ridge along the back of my skull. I turned onto my side and ripped the rubber band out, quickly combing through the plates with my fingers. I pulled the pillow back over my eyes. It was all no use, of course. My subconscious had dredged up exactly the images I'd been trying so desperately to avoid. So that's where E.L. James got it.
Yep.
I was going to have to...
So wait, is this... Wait, no, I was thinking Twilight was a fan fiction of something out there.
I mean... It could be Galloping Abs fan fiction? I hope not. But it could be. I don't know, though. Like, what's the timeline on that? Which came out first? Probably Twilight, actually. So,
I don't know.
damn it. Okay, well, credit where it's due to Twilight. It's at least original.
I was gonna say. Does that mean 50 Shades of Grey is a fanfic of a fanfic?
I've heard stranger things, believe it or not. Anyway. I was going to have to face them now. I sat up and my head spun for a minute as the blood flowed downward. First things first, I thought to myself, shouldn't there be an apostrophe on things? I feel like there should be an apostrophe on things. First thing is first.
Yes. Oh, before we continue, Slayer does ask a good question. Where is Wendy at the moment?
You know, I have no clue. She does work the night shift at her job, but, this is normally her day off. Which is why she's normally here. But, like, she has been having sleep issues lately just due to allergies and a few other things, so it's possible that she's sleeping in.
Allergies. I hear those are awful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the only thing I'm allergic to is a medical compound that can only be encountered in a hospital setting, so... You know.
I'm allergic to cedar.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I like cedar.
I touch cedar trees and hives.
Ugh.
Why was I expecting that sentence to end with "I get wood"?
Next.
Like I can deal with the smell of cedar is fine. It's just if I just can't touch them.
Well, I am fortunate enough to not have found anything I'm allergic to yet.
Well, it could be worse. We could be Temmie and be allergic to Adorable.
Oh
no! Hives!
I only cried for 20 minutes.
I love Undertale. Undertale's the best thing.
I'll have you know that I played Undertale and killed everybody on there, and I only cried for 20 minutes.
I accidentally double tapped the I love button and it echoed.
Oh no.
That's awesome. I sat up and my head spun for a minute as the blood flowed downward. First things first, I thought to myself, happy to put it off as long as possible. I grabbed my bathroom bag. Your bathroom bag?
Your duffel bag?
I could.
No, I think it's like, your travel bag for going for your toiletries. Just, when you live at home and you bring them to your room often enough.
I get it. It's
bathroom. Why are you bringing bathroom stuff into your bedroom?
I get it. Yes, okay. You hate having to share a bathroom with your father. I've got a friend who shares a bathroom with his mom, his mom's boyfriend, his mom's other boyfriend. Long story. And his 2 sisters. I think you're gonna live. The shower didn't last nearly as long as I hoped it would, though. Even taking the time to blow dry my hair, I was soon out of things to do in the bathroom. In the bathroom!
And then leave the bathroom?
Yes. Wrapped in a towel, I crossed back to my room. I couldn't tell if Charlie was still asleep or if he had already left. I went out to look out my window and the cruiser was gone. Fishing again. Or policing. He is a policeman.
Hey.
He does police things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, presumably, probably.
Probably. I mean, not like we really ever see.
Fuck me, I thought Mayberry never had any police trouble. I dressed slowly in my most comfy sweats and then made my bed, something I never did. I couldn't put it off any longer. I went to my desk and switched on my old computer. I hated using the internet here. My modem was sadly outdated, my free service substandard. Just dialing up took so long that I decided to go get myself a bowl of cereal while I waited.
Oh, good God, you're using dial-up.
Normally I talk about how this is just more of her whining.
But it's dial-up.
I've had to use dial-up before. Like, my grandparents on both sides had dial-up. My mother's parents had that before they both died, and my dad's parents only recently upgraded to DSL. So, yeah. Every time I've been over at one of their houses, which we're a pretty tight-knit family, so that's fairly often. If I wanted to use the internet, I had to be very patient with it. It wasn't fun.
I mean, I've used dial-up before. I'm used to it, honestly. Because I was only what, in 2, I think, 2005. Anyway, Slayer brought up a good point. That's nothing to do in the bathroom. I was expecting you to play football in the bathroom.
Football in the bathroom. Oh, I love the Runaway Guys. I ate slowly, chewing each bite with care. As clumsy as she is, she probably would choke on cereal. When I was done, I washed the bowl and spoon, dried them, and put them away. Thanks for letting us know. My feet dragged as I climbed the stairs. I went to my CD player first, picking it up off the floor and placing it precisely in the center of the table. Precisely in the center of the table! I pulled out the headphones and put them away in the desk drawer. Then I turned the same CD on, turning it down to the point where it was background noise. Just gentle screaming in the background.
Crawling in my skin.
Crawling in my crawl.
I'll bet you it was as well.
Oh.
From my experience, actually, baseball players do seem inordinately fond of Linkin Park for some reason. I assume it's for the same reason that they're inordinately fond of the Michael Bay Transformers films.
Please.
Yeah. Long story short, the Cincinnati Reds are a surprisingly approachable bunch. With horrible taste in music and films.
Okay, then.
Pretty good guys, though. all things considered.
Oh.
Although it has been a few years. Anyway, that is neither here nor there. With another sigh, I turned to my computer. Naturally, the screen was covered in pop-up ads. Antivirus, Bella. Why you know antivirus?
Great question.
I sat in my hard folding chair and began closing all the little windows. Eventually, I made it to my favorite search engine. Bing.
You know,
So what,
it
you mean-
would be Bing.
Or did you actually
I shut down a few more.
You know what? It would be Ask Jeeves.
ask Jeeves? Yeah.
You sure it wouldn't be like Dogpile?
Oh God.
This is how old I am. When I was in junior high, like half the class used Dogpile.
Now that
The class used Ask Jeeves.
I used the Google.
I used.
They
the
made
Google
fun of.
too.
They made fun of me for using the Google.
I used Google before. I used Google to then switch to DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that one.
DuckDuckGo. I honestly recommend it compared to Google because it actually they say they prioritize keeping your search history private.
Oh,
Neat.
I've got an extension for that.
And I like to keep. Still, I use it myself.
Well, I mean, I've got like an extension for Chrome that automatically reformats every web page I visit to HTTPS. So better than it's not like a full on like Tor or VPN setup, but it's a start, I guess. Maybe.
I still recommend DuckDuckGo if you don't have like any plugins or applications that do that sort of thing, or if you just don't want to mess with it, you can just go there and they prioritize your searches. They say we're not going to sell your information to anyone.
Slayer, he's implying that the Jewish lizards are trying to hack his internet to make his frogs gay.
Yes. No, it's just I'm wary of Google is all.
I'm not wary of Google specifically. I'm wary of just the internet in general at this point, honestly.
No, in my case, I like my privacy. I try to keep my stuff as private as possible.
Ditto. But at the same time, Google is just inherently user-friendly, so if I don't have to give it up, I won't. Also, I'm too lazy to set up all my other accounts and shit through a different service. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'll tell you what is here.
I don't know. You have the PDF.
I shut down a few more pop-ups and then typed in one word. Porn! No, fam. No.
Actually, that does beg the question. What's her browser?
Not stated. Although with all the pop-ups, probably Bing.
No.
I'm guessing Netscape.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like
There's-
that.
I haven't
I'd
heard.
say that's America Online, but Netscape doesn't get much love.
Yep.
I mean, does America Online get much love? Outside of your parents, I mean.
It's still being used by.
Yeah, I know. I thought my parents were tech illiterate. Anyway.
My parents don't use that anymore, thankfully. They've switched. But still.
Yes. It took an infuriatingly long time, of course. Well, I mean, have you ever tried to load a picture of a topless centerfold on a dial-up set on a dial-up modem? That is some slow shit.
And have you also considered scanning your computer for any issues?
Although it is
I hope she made lots of spaghetti.
Although it is, yeah, although it is inherently exciting when you finally do get a nipple. Uh, I could keep that joke going for as long as I like. But more importantly, when the results came up, there was a lot to sift through. Everything from movies and TV shows to role-playing games, underground metal, and gothic.
Porn.
Well, I mean, the porn doesn't even need to be said at this point, I think. And
That's true.
gothic cosmetic companies. Gothic. It's hello NOB.
Luigi, look, it's Paul.
It's porn, Luigi. You didn't make it. I hope.
I shot this. I directed it.
Oh.
Yeah, Luigi, that's unbelievable. You can't even get close to Daisy without.
Jizzed in my
You're-
pants.
I love.
You're a disgrace to the Mario Brothers, Luigi. You're worse than Sponge Mario.
Don't bring up Sponge in the street.
Oh my god, Sponge.
Oh, fine sauce.
You're
That's
worse
a
than
reference I
Sponge.
never expected to hear.
Sponge Mario, Pretzel Mario, and Sausage Mario.
Sausage Mario.
Next.
He's a Mario brother I made up. He instead of going on adventures, he decides he wants to try to become a successful plumber.
Next.
I mean, my knee-jerk reaction was, how dare he?
Do you have any idea how many innuendos I'm coming up with in my head right now?
However, it didn't go so well, and at least in my Tamagotchi life game, he comes to the island to get away from everything.
Oh boy. Okay.
On how to get to
Got
instructions.
cosmetics. Yes. Then I found a promising site. Vampires A to Z.
Right.
Really?
It too
That
had
was promising.
It too had pop-ups, but of a very different sort.
Spice up your sex life.
Vampires.
Congratulations.
Vampires A to Z, a little golden book. I waited impatiently for it to load, quickly clicking closed each ad that flashed across the screen.
Next.
Wait, Vampires A to Z is apparently a real thing.
Probably a fan. It's probably a Twilight fan site.
I'm gonna check.
You do that.
I want to check to see if this is an actual thing.
Finally, the screen was finished. Simple white background with black text, academic looking. 2 quotes greeted me on the homepage. Throughout the vast, shadowy world of ghosts and demons, there is no figure so terrible, no figure so dreaded and abhorred, yet dight with such fearful fascination as the vampire, who is himself neither ghost nor demon, but yet who partake the dark natures and possesses the mysterious and terrible qualities of both. Reverend Montague Summers. Summers?
Yeah, Summers.
I could take that seriously right up until I find out his last name was fucking Summers.
Well,
Crap! It actually is a vampire site.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna hurl.
Like, literally that quote, and I'm guessing the next one? Yeah, the next one.
And y'all
They're
are
here.
And y'all are certain this ain't. You know what? Okay, I have
No,
to.
I'm not certain.
I'm fairly certain this is a real site because I'm going through the categories. It is actually looks like they're talking about different vampire. Apparently vampires.
Yeah, vampires from all across the world, going by different names. Like most
Okay, I'm
of the
gonna
time,
just-
some of these look like actual people names, but they've also got,
If I may,
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I assume we're looking at the same one. It's got like the swoopy Tim Burton script.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's a fan site.
probably.
You can tell by the swoopy Tim Burton script. I just,
Yeah.
hold on. I want the stream to get in on this. What do you guys think? You look at this. Does this look legit to you? Does this look academic to you?
I mean,
Like,
it doesn't look academic.
What, academics can't have their own style choice?
Not when it's that fucking tacky.
Because to its credits, it at least sticks to its name. It's talking about different vampire legends and all these, like, different vampire legends and such, different types, different vampire groups and everything. Hey, it's Gale.
No, doctor is spelled out. Thank you.
Oh.
Vampires
yes,
start
we
with
are.
Z. Actually, I didn't remember. Actually, there are vampires that start with a Z. The Zmeu? ZMEU.
Zme.
From Moldova. So.
He named
Moldavia,
Jeff.
so.
Name's Jeff.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, it's the name. It's the specific name of a vampire. It's one of those named people vampires.
Wait, is Wendy here?
I don't know.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, there was a vampire. There was a vampire name I saw named Gale.
Oh.
Gayal.
So wait,
I get it.
Gay Al?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we found the real big Gay Al.
Gayal 2K6.
I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's gonna kill me.
Let's see. Area from nationality: India. A vampiric spirit usually created due to the death of a man who has no one to properly perform the burial rites at his funeral. When he returns, the Gael wreaks his revenge upon the sons of others and upon his own relatives.
Hold on.
I love.
There we go.
Well, okay. So to put the question to bed, Twilight came out in 2006.
Uh-huh.
All of these entries seem to come in around 2011.
And there we have it.
It's almost certainly a fan site. And thank you, Slayer, for going to Gail Yankovic.
Gail Yankovic!
So that I'm not the only one.
Driving a truck with my high heels on.
Oh boy.
So how about the Twilight?
Twilight, Gail Yankovic, man.
Gail Yankovic. I can get paid.
Gail's Toy Barn.
I mean, yeah.
Story 2 took a different approach this time around.
If there is in this world a well-attested account, it is that of the vampires. Nothing is lacking. Official reports, affidavits of well-known people, of surgeons, of priests, of magistrates. What dost thou think thou art, a magistrate? Sorry, strong bad. The judicial proof is most complete, and with all that, who is there who believes in vampires? Rousseau. Wait, as in Jean-Jacques Rousseau? The Enlightenment era philosopher? That Rousseau?
I guess?
Okay, once more into the breach. I'm gonna have to look this up.
I'm gonna be throwing my trash. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. Yeah, apparently it is Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
Motherfucking.
Right back. And don't touch anything.
I can't make any promises.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the Enlightenment era philosopher, one of the grandfathers of democratic theory,
Yep.
was a vampire conspiracy theorist.
Apparently.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out.
Yes.
God, apparently he wrote this to a letter to the Archbishop of Paris.
What?
Apparently he really needed to tell, the Archbishop about his beliefs in vampires.
I don't know if I can finish this, you guys. I didn't know. What? Oh no. Oh no. I hate to say this, but I think I need to get back to something a bit more sane.
Oh,
Which
dear.
means, strangely, Twilight. The rest of the site was an alphabetized listing of all the different myths of vampires held throughout the world. First I clicked on the Danag was a Filipino vampire supposedly responsible for planting taro on the islands long ago.
Why'd you choose that one first? It's literally in the middle of this list.
She was looking because she was looking for a very different D word.
Yes.
Fair enough.
The myth continued that the world. The myth continued that the Danag worked with humans for many years, but the partnership ended one day when a woman cut her finger and a Danag sucked her wound, enjoying the taste so much that it drained her body completely of blood.
Oh no. That's word for word what it says on the site. They're not even trying.
I can't even.
No.
I read carefully through the descriptions, looking for anything that sounded familiar, let alone plausible. It seemed that most vampire myths centered around beautiful women as demons and children as victims. Okay. They also seemed like constructs created to explain away the high mortality rates for young children and to give men an excuse for infidelity. Yeah, that's mythology for you. Many of the stories involved bodiless spirits and warnings against improper burials. There wasn't much that sounded like the movies I'd seen, and only a very few, like the Hebrew Estria and the Polish Upier? My
Yeah.
You'll have to excuse me. Both my Hebrew and my Polish are extremely rusty, and by rusty I mean I don't speak those language.
Yeah.
Who were even preoccupied with drinking blood. Only 3 entries really caught my attention, though the Romanian Varacolaci, a powerful undead being who could appear as a beautiful pale-skinned human, the Slovak Nalapsi, a creature so strong and fast it could massacre an entire village in the single hour after midnight, and one other, the Stragoni Benefici, which, for whatever reason, only one of those words is italicized. Thank you, editors.
Yeah.
I can't blame you for falling asleep in the middle of reading through all this, but for God's sake, at least pick up where you left off once you wake back up.
Yeah. Please.
About this
work, though.
About this last, there was only one brief sentence, and it did the same fucked up italicization. Seriously, what?
Oh no.
At least your
Considering
spelling
the rest of
errors
the
are
stuff
consistent, I guess?
Maybe she did all the editing.
And okay, it goes italics to non-italics to italicized colon.
What?
The first word, "an," of the sentence is non-italicized again, and then it goes back to italics.
Oh my god.
You're actually gonna tell me that they changed about the Comic Sans.
I'm surprised they didn't! This is the worst. This is like the single worst edited book I've ever seen in my life. This is hilarious.
I don't know if that's on par with or exceeds Frost Saif.
Yes. Or Shoro.
Or Shoro. This.
This is amazing.
Yes.
Okay, Stragoni Benefici. An Italian vampire said to be on the side of goodness and a mortal enemy of all evil vampires. Oh, great. He's the OC.
What? I mean, yes, but...
It was a relief, comma. Okay, it was a relief, unnecessary comma, that one small entry, the one myth among hundreds that claimed... among hundreds that claimed the existence
that
of
one
good...
small entry.
The structure of this sentence is abysmal.
It is, though.
Stephanie, did you have a stroke while you were writing this?
Like...
I don't know what you're talking about.
I kind of understand the whole...
Oh, wait, I get it
No.
now. It was a relief that one small entry, the one myth among hundreds that claimed the existence of good vampires. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of see how it... He had to have read that and realized, okay, this is a bit clunky. Like,
yeah, but it's being written as her thought about it, though. But then again, we haven't really seen any examples that that's the way she talks.
My brain hurts. Stop the ride. I want to get off.
Nope.
The problem with first-person narrative, honestly.
Yeah.
In a nutshell right here.
Yeah. Overall, though, there was little that coincided with Jacob's stories or my own observations. I'd made a little catalog in my mind as I'd read and carefully compared it with each myth. Speed, strength, beauty, pale skin, eyes that shift color. And then Jacob's criteria. Blood drinkers, enemies of the werewolf, cold-skinned, and immortal. There are very few myths that matched even one factor. Really? Really?
Yeah, all that stuff sounds true.
Literally all of that shit is practically... That's practically canon across, like, every vampire story. Like, that's
Yeah,
Bram
exactly.
Stoker's Dracula.
That's actual vampire stuff.
And then another problem, one that I remembered from the small number of scary movies that I'd seen and was backed up by today's reading. Vampires couldn't come out in the daytime. The sun would burn them to a cinder. Comma splice! Those are two separate, complete sentences. You should, if you're going to join them at all like that, use a semicolon.
Exactly.
They slept in coffins all day and came out only at night.
Well,
Which-
the sun thing is definitely true.
I was gonna give Stephanie Meyer a bit of leniency on this, believe it or not. Because
Oh, yeah?
because I was gonna give her a bit of leniency on the fact that her vampires sparkle. Because, believe it or not, classic mythology of vampires does not involve them being burned alive by the sun. That's something that was actually introduced by, I can't remember if it was Bram Stoker's Dracula or if it was Nosferatu. I think it was Nosferatu.
I want to say Nosferatu.
Yeah, I think it was Nosferatu. They need literally just when they made the movie, the writer couldn't come up with a good way to kill Nosferatu off at the end. So it's just like, fuck it, they burn in the sunlight now. Sure, why not? There are anecdotal examples of various other vampiric lore where they are sensitive to sunlight, and that's largely believed to have been the result of, and that's largely believed to have been connected to things like the skin condition xeroderma pigmentosa, which is a condition where your body does not produce any melanin, or does not produce. It's not that it doesn't produce any melanin; it's that it just doesn't produce enough of it. and has kind of like regenerative issues on top of that. So if you burn really, really damn bad, and it takes a lot longer to heal. It's also worth noting that a medieval treatment for that was actually drinking cow's blood.
Yeah. Sounds
So
like too much iron.
You can kind of see how that would sort of evolve into like the modern vampire myth. So it was a thing, but it wasn't like vampires being negatively affected by the sun has been a thing in some lore for a good long time, but the actual whole burning in sunlight is very much a Nosferatu thing. That's kind of just been adapted to every other vampire since. Except the ones in this book for some reason. And yet she brings up the burning. Do you know what kind of lore you're looking for in this story, Stephanie?
Yeah, it's the one for the marvelous vampirus.
I thought we were gonna go for. I thought we were gonna go for like something. Go to hell with it. Fine, sure. It's your.
Listen, that's what it says on my notes. That's what I'm going with.
I think I came up with a better one in one of the earlier parts, but I don't give a shit.
Like, I remember that far back.
Aggravated, I snapped off the computer's main power switch. Wait, did I? I did not. Okay. Aggravated, I snapped off the computer's main power switch, not waiting to shut things down properly. Through my irritation, I felt overwhelming embarrassment. Good.
Good.
I forgot to hit safely remove hardware.
You're slowly ruining your computer.
I felt overwhelming embarrassment. Well, who wouldn't after clicking through that many porn pop-ups?
Doctors hate him. Vampire hunters hate him. See how this man has managed to get away from garlic.
Congratulations,
With
you've
one
won.
weird trick.
With one weird trick.
It was all so stupid. Yes, it was. I was sitting in my room researching vampires. What was wrong with me? God, do you want the list? I decided that most of the blame belonged on the doorstep of the town of Forks. Oh, for fuck's sake!
If it's gotta be someone else's fault, otherwise it's my fault. Fuck that.
Are you a sociopath? Because this is how sociopaths think.
I mean, if we're also gonna be adding a new moon to this,
we probably will eventually.
because she
definitely gonna take a break from the Twilight saga after doing this one. Try and focus on other projects, but like we will get through the entire thing eventually, probably, maybe.
Because of her mental breakdown in New Moon.
I'd say spoilers, but does anybody care?
It's too. Who cares?
Yeah. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck.
It's been 11 years, I think. Whatever.
I decided that most of the blame belonged on the doorstep of the town of Forks, the most detestable of cutlery, and the entire sodden Olympic Peninsula, for that matter.
Why? What? Because you were too impatient to let your computer shut down properly? because oh my god, you have this fascination of wanting to do the vampire, swing your arms from side to side. Well, it's time to go do the vampire.
I don't think she's mad about her computer performance issues.
Well, she should be.
It's not gonna last as long as she keeps going like that.
Well, what do you expect? She was written by a freaking middle-aged woman. Since when do middle-aged women know anything about computers? And as we can clearly tell, Stephanie Meyer has not bothered to do the research and apparently thinks that all these pop-ups are normal.
Of course. And Slayer, I can't say for anyone else here, but I don't watch Cleveland Show.
I don't.
I don't watch anything. that Seth MacFarlane comes up with, because Seth
Yeah.
MacFarlane is a fuckhead.
I'll admit, I like early Family Guy.
Some of the early stuff was good, but like, well,
But
it was. I wouldn't even call the early stuff good. I just say that it had its moments. Cool whip.
I like early Family Guy, and I'll admit to liking early American Dad.
I have not seen enough of American Dad to differentiate early from late, and I've hated everything I've seen. So, whoops.
It's more or less the devolving of characters that really got my nerves on it.
Which
That makes
seems to
sense.
be a recurring thing with everything Seth MacFarlane touches.
Oh, of course.
Surprise! Yeah, no, I fucking hate Seth MacFarlane.
Couldn't tell.
So, yeah. Fuck you.
Barely, I have a confession for you. I'm a frog.
Now is not the time for Kermit.
It's
That's a
always
lie.
time for Kermit, bitch.
I was about to say, that's a lie. Every time is Kermit time.
Every time is Kermit time. You're right, you can shoot up.
It's like Hammer time that way. Or Time to Duel. Or or Time to Make Waffles! Anyway. I had to get out of the house, but there was nowhere I wanted to go that didn't involve a 3-day drive. Great. I need to put the world's smallest violin on this soundboard too. Jesus wept.
I mean, is Forks really that far away from any bigger cities?
Apparently. Thank you, Mordrin.
I mean, I know the town near us isn't that big of an improvement. At least it has better, but it's at least a college town. It's about 20 minutes away.
I mean, there's a fair few towns in kind of like the rough vicinity of Cincinnati that are a ways out. Hamilton, Dayton. Although Dayton's pretty decently sized in its own right, I guess. Plus they got Right Pat, which is awesome. Aerospace!
I love.
Anyway, I pulled on my boots anyway, unclear where I was headed, and went downstairs. I shrugged into my raincoat without checking the weather and stomped out the door. It was overcast, but not raining yet. Should have checked the weather. You silly. I ignored my truck and started east on foot, angling across Charlie's yard toward the ever-encroaching forest. I'm on effort. What are you doing? Like, maybe it's because I'm a car enthusiast, but as far as I'm concerned, if I don't know where I want to go, but I want to go somewhere, I just get in the car and drive.
Especially if, you're living out in the middle of the woods or something.
And I usually end up right back where I started. Because, I mean, well, I guess ideally that's what you would do.
Yeah, same here.
But, like, that's a thing I do. If I feel the need, if I'm frustrated and I feel the need to blow off steam, one thing I've always liked to do, or at least would do when my car was working, which it still isn't. Fuck me. Thank you, Mordrin. Mordrin did not fuck me. But, like, when the MR2 was working, if I wanted to blow off steam, I just hop in, crank it up, and there's a lot of back roads in the Cincinnati area because we're in such a hilly part of the country, but that, the pavement's a bit rough almost everywhere because our Department of Transportation is a bunch of assholes.
Sounds about right.
But in spite of that, there are some pretty engaging little tight, twisty B roads out in the general area. Usually, I'll just kind of blast along those until I feel a bit better, or
I guess Slayer left.
Wrap myself around a tree and die. And oh no, I missed Slayer leaving.
Don't forget Gail Yankovic.
Gail Yankovic, 2006 to 2017. Never forget. In the arms of... Well, I was trying to think of like a subset of the gay community to put in instead of angels, but I couldn't come up with any.
The gay community?
Yes.
If you want if you want something for the gay community,
You
just
know
get
what?
AJ Styles. Just
In
the gay community.
arms of the gay angels.
Goodness.
I'm going to hell. But we already knew that.
Yeah.
You guys should see what happens when we play Cards Against Humanity.
Oh God.
Stop
That's
or
mostly talking to myself, really.
Stop or I'll look at this photograph. Okay.
Nobody panic. We're not here to harm you. We just want to look at this photograph.
Oh, that card in particular is the gift that keeps on giving. It didn't take long till I was deep enough for the house and the road to be invisible, for the only sound to be the squish of the damp earth under my feet and the sudden cries of the jays. Squelch. Squelch. You know, like blue jays, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought
it's a family of
Toronto
birds.
Blue Jays. Okay, I get it.
It's either a family of birds or a baseball team. Yeah.
I like to think it was just the Toronto Blue Jays baseball team.
Base burbs.
Space burbs.
Base burbs.
Base burbs.
Space brains.
Not space burbs.
Space brains. Yeah,
base burbs, as in burbs that play baseball.
Oh, I said space burbs. Wearing their little space marine outfits, praying to the god pterodactyl. Well, I mean, birds are descendants of dinosaurs.
I know. That's why it's funny.
The god Velociraptor, the god T-Rex.
Okay. Whew. There was a thin ribbon of a trail that led through the forest here, or I wouldn't risk wandering on my own like this. That feels like a little bit of there was a thin ribbon of a trail that led through the forest here, which is an observation, or I wouldn't risk wandering on my own like this, which is a conditional. Like, I mean, I get what you're trying to say, it's just not very well said. Am I the only one having this problem?
I think so.
I think I'm the only one having this problem. Moving on. My sense of direction was hopeless. I could get lost in much less helpful surroundings. Oh, what a surprise. The trail wound deeper and deeper into the forest, mostly east as far as I could tell. It snaked around the Sitka spruces and the hemlocks, the yews, and the maples. I only vaguely knew the names of the trees around me, and all I knew was due to Charlie pointing them out to me from the cruiser window in earlier days. Wow. I didn't know Charlie was such a hippie.
No, that grove
Charlie
just...
bit me.
Charlie isn't the vampire!
Hemlock's not a tree, though.
No, what you understand is that Charlie's gonzo.
Now that you mention it, hemlock... Isn't a hemlock like a shrubbery?
I think it's a bush, yeah.
No, it's a shrubbery!
No.
What's wrong? Are you not a fan of the night?
We are no
longer the knights that say knee. We are now the knights that say icky, 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 bring them to the...
We're still working on it.
Yes.
Oh no, there's apparently several kinds of plants.
Known as hemlock?
Known as hemlock.
Huh.
At least like 3 of them are bushes and stuff, but there is a tree version, so.
Right. Well, I'm a city boy who's way too preoccupied with identifying different makes and models of cars, so I don't give a shit.
That is why you fail.
Just reporting my findings, Bane.
There are many I didn't know, and others I couldn't be sure about because they were so covered in green parasites. Moss, Bella. Moss is what they're called.
Moss isn't that big of a deal.
It's also not parasitism. It's
Not really.
It's technically, I forget what the actual term is, but like there's 3 different kinds of symbiosis. There's mutualism, where both organisms benefit. There's parasitism, where one benefits and the other is harmed, and then there's another one in the middle of those, where one benefits and the other just, nothing really. The other just can't be bothered. Moss is very much in the moss and trees are very much in the can't be bothered category.
Yeah.
Really, in a way, neither of them really benefit from. Neither of them really either benefit or lose out from the relationship, because moss isn't really preyed on by very many things, and 2 things it is preyed on can usually reach it even when it is on the tree trunk.
Really, the only thing that's a victim to moss is fishing lures.
And those aren't living organisms,
Exactly.
as much as the fish wish they were. I followed the trail as long as my anger at myself pushed me forward. As that started to ebb, I slowed. A few drops of moisture trickled down from the canopy above me, but I couldn't be certain if it was beginning to rain or if it was simply pools left over from yesterday, held high in the leaves above me, slowly dripping their way back to the earth. Whew. Well, that was a bit of a sentence. And it was all purple prose. A recently fallen tree, I knew it was recent because it wasn't entirely carpeted in moss, rested against the trunk of one of her sisters, creating a sheltered little bench just a few safe feet off the trail. I stepped over the ferns and sat carefully, making sure my jacket was between the damp seat and my clothes wherever they touched, and leaned my hooded head against the living tree. This was the wrong place to have come. Oh, you don't say! What, are there no Are you saying there's no coffee shops in Forks? You're in Washington State! There are coffee shops in Forks! I don't care how tiny that town...
You can find Starbucks everywhere in Washington.
And where you can't find Starbucks, you can find something else!
Dunkin' Donuts! Krispy Kreme!
Or, like
Daylight Donuts!
Or like some tiny little mom and pop sort of dealie.
You will find something. Seriously.
Yeah.
If you cannot, you do not have eyes.
Go there. It's where moody, self-absorbed teens belong. Hi-oh. I should have known, but where else was there to go? Girl! The forest was deep green and far too much like the scene in last night's dream to allow for peace of mind. Always with the fucking green.
Of course.
Now that there was no longer the sound of my soggy footsteps, the silence was piercing. The birds were quiet too, the drops increasing in frequency, so it must be raining above. The ferns stood higher than my head now that I was seated, and I knew someone could walk by on the path 3 feet away and not see me. How short are you? I'm sorry, I do not know of any fern outside of the Carboniferous period that grows that tall. I'm not exactly a botanist here, but well, my mom does like ferns. So does my cat. Likes to hide in the foliage.
Sounds like cat behavior.
Kitty! Oh, me and my soft spot for small furry creatures.
Yep.
Here in the trees, it was much easier to believe the absurdities that embarrassed me indoors. Nothing had changed in this forest for thousands of years, and all the myths and legends of 100 different lands seemed much more likely in this green haze than they had in my clear-cut bedroom. Clear-cut bedroom?
Yeah, don't you have one?
Yes, literally everything was cut by glass.
No, No, Ifrit. I live in a relativistic bedroom.
That's boring, though.
No, it's just very, very gray.
50 Shades?
Possibly more, actually.
So
Oh
50
my.
pages, so it's darker.
And lighter, and well, you get the idea. It's also a bit fuzzy.
Which are you? Mr. Gray or that one
No, I'm just fuzzy.
Fuzzy Lumpkins?
Not that fuzzy.
Fuzzy Wuzzy.
Well, he was a bear.
So
Fuzzy
you're saying
Wuzzy,
you're a bear then?
but Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't really fuzzy, was he?
It still stands. You're a bear, right? Here's the way you're talking.
Well, yeah.
So,
Hello.
does that mean you have a tapping?
No comment. For those of you who don't get it, go subscribe to Glove and Boots. You won't regret it. Well, you might regret it, but you won't regret it. That's helpful, I know.
Totally.
Anyway, I forced myself to focus on the two most vital questions I had to answer, but I did so unwillingly. First, I had to decide if it was possible that what Jacob had said about the Cullens could be true. Then, I had to decide whether I was going to continue sitting here like a soggy idiot, or go back to the truck and go out for donuts. Should have gone with B.
Yeah.
Immediately my mind responded with a resounding negative. It was silly and morbid to entertain such ridiculous notions. But what then? I asked myself. There was no rational explanation for how I was alive at this moment. I listed again in my head the things I'd observed myself. The impossible speed and strength, the eye color shifting from black to gold and back again, the inhuman beauty, the pale, frigid skin,
Next.
and more, small things that registered slowly, how they never seemed to eat, the disturbing grace with which they moved, and the way... Is that the way B? The way...
Please!
I have so many questions right now, because... I think that it was supposed to be he, as in Edward Cullen, which would explain the italicization, would actually be a somewhat reasonable use of it, for once.
I guess
Yeah.
B's got represented for this for
And
once.
then, just sudden
Paragraph break.
indentation in the middle of a sentence?
It's a new paragraph. Of course there's an indentation.
So, it's a typo.
It is a typo.
It's a spelling error. That's also a sentence structure error. It's just. It's a good thing Wendy isn't here. I'm pretty sure this would actually kill her.
This kills the Windy.
Well, this kills the English major.
Yeah. Goodness, though, that is. This
Anyway.
actually is definitely on Frosty Eve levels of.
I'm gonna just go ahead and
What
read
the
this
hell?
the way it was written, and the way
Sure.
B sometimes spoke, with unfamiliar cadences and phrases that better fit the style of a turn-of-the-century novel than that of a 21st-century classroom. Girl! You have
Holy-
no room to talk!
Holy crow, you really said that?
No!
I'm just gonna let Robotnik speak for me there. He had skipped class the day we'd done blood typing. He hadn't said no to the beach trip till he heard where we were going. He seemed to know what everyone around him was thinking, except me. ESP is not a vampire thing, Bella. He told me that he was the villain. Dangerous. Could the Cullens be vampires? Or maybe Edward's just an edgelord. Has that ever crossed your mind?
I mean, there is the whole sitting at lunch, not doing anything, literally.
Not doing anything.
Truth be
Probably
told,
listening to. Go ahead.
that's kind of what I did at lunch too. I
You
usually just
sat there staring into space, not eating anything.
well, I wasn't eating anything, but usually I would just sit there and play solitaire.
At least you were doing something.
Insofar as
Usually-
playing solitaire can be called doing something.
It's more than what they were doing.
Usually, I'd sneak to the library or one of the CAD classroom, and then just get into the hidden files on the computer to play some Super Nintendo emulators. Yeah,
even back in high school, Ifrit was elite hacksaw.
What happened was, this is before I even got to high school. Someone went and hid into the deep areas of the server.
What, like the registry files and shit?
Yeah, the registry files of they hid a folder for ZSNES and a bunch of ROMs for it, and once everyone found out about it, a lot of people were playing it.
That's awesome.
So I even went out of a few ROMs that I had into it.
That's actually really awesome. Our school didn't have that.
So I would have Final Fantasy V or Super Ninja Kun.
Ninja Kun.
It's a platformer, a cute one.
I know. Just I have to laugh.
But then one of the files I added in got notorious.
What did you do?
Kaiser Mario got put on there.
Oh
no! Move faster, Pokey!
I got Kaiser Mario's 1 and 2 on. I put Kaiser Mario's 1 and 2 on there.
Jump, Mega Man!
And they did. No one knew what to do.
For the love of Batman, jump! Bill Cosby is angry. Stimpy! I need spackle!
Shing, sparkle, sparkle.
Shing, spackle, spackle.
But yeah, it just got notoriety. I was like, we don't know what to do. This is impossible.
And you're just over there like...
Basically. I had the idea. I told him, okay, look, you need this. In order for this to work properly, you need to use save states. Because you have to be very pinpoint accurate.
That's true.
Oh, that rocks my socks off.
And then at least show them how to get through the bullet bill section the first level.
For those of you who want more in-depth look at the game that Ifrit is currently talking about, I highly recommend that you go look at the earlier works of one Proton John, who I may or may not have been quoting throughout this entire discussion.
Just maybe.
If he was still around, I'd also recommend Pyramid Head because he did a video of the first level or two of Kaiser Mario.
Did you say Pyramid Head?
Yes.
Ah!
If he was still around.
No! Do not wish for Pyramid Head back. I've got too much trauma.
Why?
A knife. And the scraping. And the always following me everywhere.
We're both thinking of different Pyramid Heads.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, that's okay then.
He was one of the earlier YouTubers I followed before he got rid of his account.
I always hate it when that happens. Oh well.
Yeah.
Nothing good can last forever. Anyway, speaking of nothing good. Vampires, something. Here we go. Well, they were something. Yes, they were. Most things are. Something outside the possibility of rational justification was taking place in front of my incredulous eyes. Whether it be Jacob's cold ones, or my own superhero theory, Edward Cullen was not human. He was something more. So then, maybe. That would have to be my answer for now. So your answer is that you don't have an answer. By Jove, Detective, I think you've got it!
What a great observation.
Mm.
Maybe the CIA could use you.
No!
And then the most important question of all: boxers or briefs?
My trousers.
Remember one time in junior high, somebody asked one of my friends that, and he's one of those kinds of people. So his immediate response didn't skip a beat, completely deadpan. I'm not wearing underwear. Smile, creepy smile. He was
Okay, nice.
He was probably wearing underwear. I hope. What was I going to do if it was true? Panic. Panic is a good option. Let's go with panic. If Edward was a vampire, I could hardly make myself think the words. Then what should I do? Involving someone else was definitely out. I couldn't even believe myself. Anyone I told would have me committed. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Only two options seemed practical. The first was to take his advice, to be smart, to avoid him as much as possible. Thank you, Mordreen. To cancel our plans, to go back to ignoring him as far as I was able. To pretend there was an impenetrably thick glass wall between us and the one class where we were forced together. Even when he grumble faces at you? To tell him to leave me alone, and mean it this time. This time, it's personal, for real. Serious. Whatever. I was gripped in a sudden agony of despair as I considered that alternative. How could this happen to me? My mind rejected the pain, quickly skipping on to the next option. I reject your reality and substitute my own. With sincerest apologies to both Adam Savage and the creators of, what was that movie called? Dungeon Master? I think so.
Maybe.
Obscure sci-fi / fantasy film from like the 1980s. Really campy, really stupid.
Wasn't everything from the 80s, though?
I mean, speaking as a longtime devotee of Transformers who's been watching it since he was a little kid, including the first generation show, yeah. Definitely, yeah. I could do nothing different. After all, if he was something sinister, he'd done nothing to hurt me so far. In fact, I would be a dent in Tyler's fender if he hadn't acted so quickly. So quickly, I argued with myself, that it might have been sheer reflexes. But if it was a reflex to save lives, how bad could it be? I retorted. My head spun around in answerless circles.
That's my joke. I'll kill you.
Oh, go home, Tommy Wiseau. You're drunk?
Who says I'm Tommy Wiseau? I'm Zoidberg.
Oh. Well, technically Curly Joe did that first.
I'm a ripoff. I'm a disgrace to my people.
It's okay, Zoidberg. We still love you. Well, I still love you. I like Zoidberg. It's a silly crap.
I'm his friend Jesus.
There was one thing I was sure of, if I was sure of anything. The Dark Edward in my dream last night was a reflection only of my fear of the word Jacob had spoken, and not Edward himself. You don't say that wasn't Edward himself in your dream!
In my dreams, they seem the same.
Even so, when I'd screamed out in terror at the werewolf's lunge, it wasn't fear for the wolf that brought the cry of no to my lips. It was the fear that he would be harmed. That was... Stop italicizing him! Stop italicizing your vampire boyfriend crush!
Because it has to show the importance.
Yeah,
He's not a freaking deity.
Not to you, he isn't. Bella, on the other hand.
And hordes of 13-year-old girls the world over.
Oh, and older.
And much, much older. Yes, I know. It was a fear that he would be harmed. Even as he called to me with sharp-edged fangs, I feared for him! And I knew that I had my... And I knew in that... And I knew in that I had my answer.
My name is Jeff.
Frickin' garbage-ass diction. Frickin' sentence structure. I didn't know if there was ever a choice, really. I was already in too deep. Now that I knew, if I knew... Why is the I italicized there? I can understand the if,
point.
but...
I love you. You're a horse.
I could do nothing about my frightening secret. What, that you're a crazy, delusional... What, that you're a crazy, delusional vampire conspiracy theorist? In the line of such greats as Jean-Jacques Rousseau?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the garlic that turn the friggin' vampires gay.
Or Alex Jones, apparently. You know what? I could totally believe that. Yeah.
I'm sick of this crap.
He already rambles about frickin' goblins.
Sick of mythological creatures. Not funny.
And pickles.
Pickles?
Pickles.
Pickles.
You pick up your pants.
God, no.
Don't bring my brother into this. Because when I thought of him, of his voice, his hypnotic eyes, the magnetic force of his personality, fucking vampires, how do they work? I wanted nothing more than to be with him right now. Even if... But I couldn't think of it. No! It could never be! Dramatic flair!
I'm sorry, bro, but I'm already with somebody.
Damn right you are! Now get over here, frog boy!
Oh, Lord! Ah.
That was probably a terrible Miss Piggy impersonation. I can hardly tell because I got my headphones on, but...
You shut your stupid mouth, you stupid pork chop loving bitch!
Doesn't the abuse usually go in the opposite direction with those two?
Well, I'm Kermit the Colon here. I'm different than my other counterpart.
Oh, go choke on a garlic.
Colon.
Oh, go choke on a garlic bulb.
You shut your mouth, you stupid. Yeah.
Thanks, Piggy.
Are you slapping? Oh, okay, good. I was wondering if you were slapping yourself in that.
Waka waka.
I wanted nothing more than to be with him right now. Even if, but I didn't think it. Okay, I already did that. Not here, alone in the darkening forest. Not while the rain made it dim as twilight. Ugh. Under the canopy and pattered like footsteps across the matted earthen floor. Oh no, that's actually
Tidal
just...
drop.
That's actually just Edward Cullen walking by. Convenient, isn't it?
See, they said it.
I honestly would have half expected that to be the case, but I don't think it is. I shivered and rose quickly from my place of concealment, worried that somehow the path would have disappeared with the rain. But it was there, safe and clear, winding its way out of the dripping green maze. I followed it hastily, my hood pulled close around my face, becoming surprised as I nearly ran through the trees at how far I had come. How far you'd come?
Next.
Here we come.
In your mouth.
Come on.
Dr. Rabbit, the world's only rabbit Nazi.
I started to wonder if I was...
I'm about to let Bella have a look at my ass.
Oh, that's an old one. I started to wonder if I was heading out at all, or following the path farther into the confines of the forest. Before I could get too panicky, though, I began to glimpse some open spaces through the webbed branches. And then I could hear a car passing on the street. And I was free. Charlie's lawn stretched out in front of me, the house beckoning me, promising warmth and dry socks.
Dry socks.
Next.
What is it with your obsession with socks?
That's a
Are
good
you?
question.
Is Bella a corgi? I think Bella might be a corgi.
Maybe she secretly has a foot fetish and wants to keep her feet clean.
I'm gonna move on before I think too much about that. It was just noon when I got back inside. I went upstairs and got dressed for the day. Jeans and a t-shirt since I was staying indoors. It didn't take too much effort to concentrate on my task for the day, a paper on Macbeth that was due Wednesday. I settled into outlining a rough draft contentedly, more serene than I'd felt since Thursday afternoon, if I was being honest. Ugh, Macbeth. Just ugh.
Hey, don't you dare make fun of Macbeth.
Also, ugh, outlining.
Macbeth has a good ass.
Can I just say right now, I've never understood the point of outlining.
Me neither.
Then again, I'm the kind of guy who would take his first draft and turn it into his final draft.
Me too. So.
And I still got higher grades on my essays than everyone else.
Wow, guys, that's horrible of you.
Yeah.
You have no
I'm
love
aware.
of writing.
No, I'm just a good enough writer that I get it right the first time.
I mean, for the education system, yes, I agree.
Well, I like to think my writing in general is at least okay.
It might be. I recognize mine could probably use actual work to it.
Mine needs improvement.
But I can definitely BS my way through an essay.
I'll give you some credit for it. You at least have better ideas than Stephanie Meyer.
Also true.
Which I admit sounds less like the compliment I meant it to be and more like damning with faint praise. That had always been my way, though. Making decisions was the painful part for me, the part I agonized over. Oh god, paper or plastic! But once the decision was made, I simply followed through, usually with the relief that the choice was made. Sometimes the relief was tainted by despair, like my decision to come to Forks, the most detestable of cutlery! But it was still...
I mean, it's Forks, Washington. What did you expect?
Well, it was still better than wrestling with the alternatives. Oh yeah!
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Tell you something, brother.
I wouldn't want 3 minutes of playtime in the ring with him either. Not that I dislike the late Macho Man Randy Savage at all. Quite the opposite. I'm quite a fan. But he would break me.
You're going nowhere. I got you for 3, brother.
Bonesaw is ready!
Oh, yeah!
He was the best part of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
He was also the best part in Space Ghost Coast to Coast at that time.
Generally speaking, if Macho Man Randy Savage is involved in something, he's the best part of that something.
That's lore.
Mer?
Well, you know, no, he guessed Macho Man did a guest appearance in Dexter.
What? The series with this...
Dexter's Laboratory.
Okay, you kind of have to be a bit more...
Monkey.
You kind of have to be a bit more specific when it comes to Dexter. Because...
Yeah.
Yeah, he was this galactic wrestler from space who demanded all the heroes wrestle him or else he will destroy the Earth.
Oh, I remember that one!
Yeah, now it starts to sound familiar.
Oh, that one was so good, though! Oh. Happy little moments. This decision was ridiculously easy to live with. Dangerously easy.
Danger!
With apologies to Chester Cheeto. And so the day was quiet, productive. I finished my paper before 8. It took you 8 hours to write a paper?
Apparently.
Depends on the subject.
Productive, my fat gay ass.
It depends on the subject.
Charlie came home with a large catch, and I made a mental note to pick up a book of recipes for fish while I was in Seattle next week. Internet? The chills that flashed up my spine whenever I thought of that trip were no different than the ones I'd felt before I'd taken my walk with Jacob Black. Because we totally need to specify which Jacob she was walking with. Because there's totally multiple Jacobs in this book. Thank God.
Jacob
there's not
Black, it just sounds like a
multiple
porn name.
Really?
That's what it is.
Oh. So
There
that's
was
what they
something
mean.
about his name that was bugging me.
That brings a whole new meaning to Gotta Get Down on Friday.
Stop it!
No,
Nah.
No!
we can't. We can't not.
I am an asshole. I am an asshole. I
Shut
am
up!
such
It's
an
not
asshole.
funny.
Yes, it is.
No!
Just a little bit.
No!
I'm having too much fun with this shit.
Yep.
Don't I always? Anyway. Dirk. Herkadirk. Herdirk. Right, finished your paper before 8, the fish, the chills. They should be different, I thought. I should be afraid. I knew I should be, but I couldn't feel the right kind of fear. Well, that's 'cause y'all's stupid. I slept dreamlessly that night, exhausted from beginning my day so early, and sleeping so poorly the night before. I awoke, for the second time since arriving in Forks, to the bright yellow light of a sunny day. I skipped to the window. You skipped to the window! Tra-la-la!
I get that.
Stunned to see that there was hardly a cloud in the sky, and those there were just fleecy little white puffs that couldn't possibly be carrying any rain. I opened... Is that homophobic? I think that's homophobic.
What?
Fleecy little white puffs.
Oh.
Oh my. I opened the window, surprised when it opened silently, kind of skipped there, sorry. Surprised when it opened silently, without sticking, not having opened it in who knows how many years. That's the power of WD-40. And sucked in the relatively dry air. It was nearly warm and hardly windy at all. My blood was electric in my veins. That's probably a bad thing.
You should probably see a doctor.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind a bit more Doogie Howser. Charlie was finishing breakfast when I came downstairs, and he picked up on my mood immediately. Nice day out, he commented. Yes, I agreed with a grin. He smiled, his brown eyes crinkling around the edges. Think you should see a doctor about that. When Charlie smiled, it was easier to see why he and my mother had jumped too quickly into an early marriage. Happy mustache! Most of the young romantic he'd been in those days had faded before I'd known him, as the curly brown hair, the same color if not the same texture as mine, had dwindled, slowly revealing more and more of the shiny skin of his forehead. Bald! 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 My eyes! But when he smiled, I could see a little of the man who would run away with Renee when she was just 2 years older than I was now. Great. Now we've got reverse Oedipus complex. That's just lovely. I ate breakfast cheerily, watching the dust motes. Wrong motes. Unless you mean to tell me that you have multiple pools of dust surrounding your house. In which case I have so many questions. Watching the dust motes.
Do they have a drawbridge?
I mean, you could probably just walk over the dust, let's be honest.
But if you're gonna have moats...
Unless they have man-eating chinchillas in them. Ooh. Not the chinchillas. So fluffy, so deadly. Watching the dust motes stirring in the sunlight that streamed in the back window, Charlie called out a goodbye, and I heard the cruiser pull away from the house. I hesitated on my way out the door, hand on my rain jacket. It would be tempting fate to leave it home. With a sigh, I folded it over my arm and stepped out into the brightest light I'd seen in months. By dint of much elbow grease. I think that's proper. I think that's proper use of the word dint, but
I
considering
think so, actually.
that's the first time I've heard the word dint since my grandfather died, I was able to get both windows in the truck almost completely rolled down. Ooh. Oh yeah. Old crank windows are, like, impossible to get down.
Yep.
I'm kind of lucky in that I have an old car with crank windows, but either by virtue of it being Japanese and thus very well built, or being recently rebuilt before I bought it, it actually cranks pretty easily. The windows do.
It's good.
Yeah.
Being able to actually open your windows is a good thing.
Especially when you don't have air conditioning.
Yes.
Just pop the sunroof, roll down the windows, drive really fast. No problem here.
Nope.
Can't wait to...
I'll just take out my T windows.
Oh yeah, you've got the Camaro.
T-tops, yeah,
Dude, you got the T-tops in yours?
Yeah.
Shit, that almost makes it being a V6 worthwhile. Yeah, for those who don't know,
take out the T-tops, roll the windows down. It's all good.
For those who don't know, Ifrit has a 96 Camaro V6.
2001 Camaro.
Oh, it's an 01. Excuse me.
Yeah, she needs a lot of work, but she's fine.
Well, she needs a proper engine is one thing.
A proper engine, a better stereo system. It still has cassette tapes.
Ah, well, a head unit swap would fix that easy.
A bit of internal work.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the MR2 needs to have extensive body work done to fix all the rust. Needs to be repainted because every single panel is either mismatched or badly faded. It needs to have new wheels and to have the old wheels touched up because I want to do like a summer-winter tire rotation on it. Just put the winter tires on the older, smaller ones and get some bigger, fatter wheels to put some proper summer tires on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Driver's side door needs to be refitted because it's a little bit loose and being held in, I'm not kidding, with a nail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There isn't a bolt holding the hinge together, it's just a nail. I said it was rebuilt. I didn't say it was rebuilt well. Let's see. I think I've mentioned the head gasket already, but I'm going to mention it again because honestly what I'd really like to do is just tear down the entire engine and rebuild it with stronger internals. Apart from that, the suspension's already been fiddled with and is quite nice. The brakes have been fiddled with a bit and are actually very good. It's not a bad car. I did not pick a bad car to start off with. It's just, unfortunately, not in very good health right now. Twilight! Oh, and then there's Zach, who needs to buy a new car, just full stop.
Well, I got a car now.
Oh, you do? What'd you get?
Yeah. It's a 2002 Mitsubishi Lancer.
Ooh. What trim level?
Not low?
Okay, but like RS?
Oh,
Is it all-wheel drive, I guess is the question. And/or
I
turbo?
don't think so.
Okay, so not all-wheel drive. Is it turbo?
I doubt it.
Okay,
No,
well, it's not
turbo.
It's not an RS then, and definitely not an Evo. But the Evo wasn't sold here in 02, so I could have told you that straight off.
Fair enough.
Still, not a bad car to start with.
No, not at all.
And if you really wanted to spend the money, you probably could drop some Evo parts into it if you imported them. Ooh.
Sure, but it's like at least close to, if not over, at this point, 200,000 miles. So
All the more reason to put new parts in it.
I mean, there is that argument, yeah.
I can always find an excuse to do something crazy with other people's cars.
True that.
I've actually been I've actually spitballed with Abby on a couple of occasions. You know Abby, she shows up in the chat sometimes.
Yeah.
I've spitballed with her on a couple of occasions about taking her Subaru XV Crosstrek and converting it for like full on, like kind of four-wheeling.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Like roll cage, fog lights, raised suspension, fat tires. Believe it or not, the parts exist.
I'm not too surprised by that.
Not
but
to mention
still.
the XV is basically just a Subaru Impreza with a lift kit. So if you want, you can just drop an STI drivetrain into it. It's all plug and play. So if you want crazy powerful dual exhaust turbo goodness, that's your car.
If it's a plug and play, but it's a plug and play, but is it better than a game, Philip?
Did you just say game, Philip?
Game,
Yep.
Philip.
Can we not? Can we not? God damn it. Anyway, Twilight. Speaking of cars.
Yes.
We're so good at staying on topic.
Ryan
Totally.
cars.
Anyway.
Guys.
Elbow grease, windows. I was one of the first ones to school. I hadn't even checked the clock in my hurry to get outside. I parked and headed toward the seldom used picnic benches on the south side of the cafeteria. The benches were still a little damp, so I sat on my jacket, glad to have a use for it. I can't help but notice that she never mentioned rolling up her windows, which means it's gonna rain, and then her interior is gonna get flooded, because this book is predictable.
No, not my car.
My homework was done, the product of a slow social life. I know that feel. But there were a few trig problems I wasn't sure I had right. I took up my book industriously, but halfway through rechecking the first problem I was daydreaming, watching the sunlight play on the red-barked trees. I sketched inattentively along the margins of my homework. If you were drawing that stupid fucking S-doodle that literally everyone does. You know the one!
I do.
After a few minutes, I suddenly realized I'd drawn 5 pairs of dark eyes staring out of the page at me. I'm not sure which is worse. I scrubbed them out with the eraser. Bella Swan, vampire hunter. Bella, I heard someone call, and
she's not Abraham Lincoln.
Bella, I heard someone call, and it sounded like Mike. But it was actually Oscar Award winner. I don't know, pick an Oscar Award winner. Morgan Freeman? Morgan Freeman.
Myself?
Leonardo da Vinci.
DiCaprio! You did that on purpose!
I did.
This is not the Bastard Brothers.
But what if you just but all you have to do is put rice in a bowl.
Did somebody say rice in a bowl? And we've come full circle. And we've come full circle on the Da Vinci joke. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. Back to bothering Phantom Savage. Okay. I looked around to realize the school had become populated while I'd been sitting there, absent-minded. Goddamn pop-in. Everyone was in t-shirts, some even in shorts, so the temperature couldn't be over 60. And there's me, over here, wearing t-shirts in winter. Mike was coming toward me in khaki shorts and a striped rugby shirt, waving. Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy! If you've seen Chugga Conroy, you get the joke. Hey Mike, I called, waving back, unable to be half-hearted on a morning like this. He came to sit by me, the tidy spikes of his hair shining golden in the light, his grin stretching across his face. He was so delighted to see me. Oh, puppy. I couldn't help but feel gratified. I never noticed before, your hair has red in it. he commented, catching between his fingers a strand that was fluttering in the light breeze.
You've got red on you.
You got blood on my suit.
Only in the sun. I became just a little uncomfortable as he tucked the lock behind my ear. Bad touch. Guys, bad touch. Great day, isn't it?
Bad touch. Stranger danger.
My kind of day, I agreed. What did you do yesterday? His tone was just a bit too proprietary. I mostly worked on my essay. I didn't add that I was finished with it. No need to sound smug. Girl! It's... He hit his forehead with the heel of his hand. You mean his palm?
No.
You mean he
Oh,
face
Heel
palmed?
of his hand.
Hands don't have heels, they're not feet! Except when they are. Hello, monkeys. Hello, monkeys and your hand feet. Oh yeah, that's due Thursday, right? Wednesday, I think. Wednesday? He frowned. That's not good. What are you writing yours on? Whether Shakespeare's treatment of the female characters is misogynistic?
Of course.
Sarkeesian.
It was written for, it was written for, the rubes a couple hundred years ago, so...
Well, I mean, it was... Here's the thing. It was written by a misogynistic rube for the enjoyment of misogynistic rubes in a culture that was inherently misogynistic and rubish.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why I don't consider it a literary great.
I have no comment.
And if any... This is why I consider favorably comparing anybody's literary works to Shakespeare, favorably, to be an insult.
I don't. I do if you, say it's a rather academic piece, and thus it is Shakespearean.
Well, I mean, to me, it's always going to be like favorably comparing a movie to Michael Bay's works.
See, the problem with that is I kind of like those, so...
Get out. Get out! Unless the Transformers films are a specific exception, in which case you're okay.
But the first one's a guilty pleasure.
Kinda.
Okay, I can... You know what? I'm willing to accept that. I am willing to make that much... I'm willing to make that much of a concession to the Bayformers.
The second one was but you could see the downward spiral. The third one was utter garbage.
I think the second one was, at least for the... I think the second one was arguably the most Transformers-y. If only by virtue of the fact that it actually had robots in it. In fairly large number, which was nice. It's just a shame they, once again, waited until the final 20 minutes of the film to show up. Again.
Yeah.
Which, kind of a recurring thing with the franchise, really.
Yeah.
I still personally maintain that the least terrible of the bunch was Age of Extinction.
Age of Extinction. Which one was that?
That was the one with John Goodman.
Was the fourth one, I guess?
Yes, Marky Mark and the Funky Farmers.
Okay.
And John Goodman as Hound was, one, the most unhound Hound I've ever seen, because despite turning into a military vehicle, Hound's always been kind of a peaceful sort of beatnik of a dude. Well, maybe not quite beatnik per se. That's more of a beachcomber thing, but
Too bad all the Transformers died in that one.
In the fourth one,
With the exception of a handful.
no, they didn't all die in the fourth one. They just... Oh wait, well, I mean, yeah, all the original cast did pretty much, barring two, and I think And I think we all know
Optimus
which.
Prime Bumblebee.
Yeah, there's it. I was gonna say, with the exception of two, and I think we can all guess who those two are.
Optimus Prime and Ratchet.
You already gave the answer, dude. Too late.
Megatron Starscream?
Well, I mean, I guess technically Megatron survived it, yes.
Unicron and
I really hope
Vulture?
Unicron never gets dragged into this shit.
There's talk that he could be in the next one.
I mean, there's been talks of that for every single one of these. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like,
Yeah, but I don't know. This one just seems like it could be the time that they're going to, since there's been a handful of movies already.
well, I mean, that's what literally the only one that people weren't going like rumor crazy about Unicron being in was the first one, because that's blowing your load pretty damn early. But
The first one, I think the second one, I think it started with the third one.
Oh no! There was a massive rumor mill over Unicron's involvement, over Unicron's possible involvement in the second one. Not least of which because within the series canon, it was called Revenge of the Fallen, named for the character the Fallen, who within the Transformers multiverse has consistently always been a herald of Unicron. And this is the one time he wasn't. Thank fuck.
Actually, you know what? Has Triptychon been shown in any of the movies yet?
Not yet.
I can't remember.
None.
Probably the fifth one.
Yeah, none of the so-called Titans have,
Okay.
or City Bots, whichever you prefer. Fort Max, Metroplex.
Just get if they want to burst a load hilariously, Unicron, Metroplex, and Triptychon.
Well, I mean, it's probably worth noting that Metroplex and Triptychon are much, much smaller than Unicron is.
Of course.
Except in the real world, the toys are bigger.
Triptychon instead of Galvatron, Triptychon becomes Unicron's buddy, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Or was it? I don't know. I don't know my Transformers lore too well.
Galvatron was kind of the original herald of Unicron, at least in the first generation. Like, he was. Unicron is the one who reformatted Megatron into Galvatron in the 1986 film.
Oh, okay.
And for a brief, glorious moment, we had Leonard Nimoy voicing a giant robot despot.
This is bad comedy.
And then they learned that due to scheduling and budget concerns, they would not be able to have him for the rest of the animated series. It's actually kind of funny. Like, they wanted to have a similar Frank Welker is the nominal voice of Megatron for a lot of things, and very specifically the first generation cartoons. And they wanted to find somebody who sounded like him, but different, and had a certain level of star power for the movie, so they brought in Leonard Nimoy to voice Galvatron. Because while Galvatron is technically just Megatron again, he is a heavily reformatted Galvatron, so having a slightly different voice kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And then after the movie was wrapped and done with, they found out that they were never able to actually secure a contract with Leonard Nimoy because, well, the man's just too expensive. Let's be honest, talent on that caliber, when you're working on the budget that the Transformers guys were, and they were working on a budget, you just can't afford a guy like him. And he tells them, "Oh, I know the perfect guy who could do this." "Oh yeah, who?" "Frank Welker." And they call Frank, and he's just like, "I don't know. You guys said you wanted somebody who sounded similar but different." "Oh, fine."
Yes.
So they got rid of Frank Welker, and then replaced him with Frank Welker. You know, when he wasn't snarling into trash cans to sound like a lion. Frank Welker pops up on a lot of voice work, and it's always amusing when he does. Anyway, Twilight.
Twilight.
Oh, Transformers Twilight. The Transformers have transformed into vampires.
Anyway,
I mean, they can be like pretenders.
I'm gonna keep going. He stared at me like I'd just spoken in pig Latin. Owe ont de uye ingbre igpe atenle into a este.
Yeah.
Ease play.
Let's play.
I guess I'll have to get to work on that tonight, he said, deflated. I was gonna ask if you wanted to go out. Oh. I was taken off guard. Why couldn't I ever have a conversation with Mike anymore without it getting awkward? Welcome to being a teenager. How are you not used to? How aren't you used to it by now? Well, we could go to dinner or something, and I could work on it later. He smiled at me hopefully. Mike, I hate being put on the spot. I don't think that would be the best idea. His face fell.
Can we just go to McDonald's? No.
His face has fallen and it can't get up.
Our face is the ground. Shut up, Mike. Oh.
Why? He asked, his eyes guarded. My thoughts flickered to Edward, wondering if that's where his thoughts were as well. I think, and if you ever repeat what I'm saying now, I will cheerfully beat you to death, I threatened. But I think that would hurt Jessica's feelings. He was bewildered, obviously not thinking in that direction at all. We've talked about the italics, Stephanie. For God's sake. Jessica? Really, Mike, are you blind? Well, you know, congenital blindness is an issue with certain species of with certain strains of Labrador Retriever.
Are you assuming his persona?
Only because Bella did it first. So, you know, if there's any backlash, I can always just blame her, and everyone will be okay with it because she's a bitch anyway.
Of course.
Oh, he exhaled, clearly dazed. I took advantage of that to make my escape. It's time for class, and I can't be late again. I gathered my books up and stuffed them in my bag. We walked in silence to Building 3, and his expression was distracted. Ball!
I'm so distracted.
I hoped whatever thoughts he was immersed in were leading him in the right direction. When I saw Jessica and Trigg, she was bubbling with enthusiasm. Bubbles! 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 My bubbles.
My bubbles.
I like bubbles. She, Angela, and Lauren were going to Port Angeles tonight to go dressing. Tonight? I think you mean that night. Mixing your frickin'...
Tonight.
Don't mix your fucking tenses, damn it. To go dress shopping for the dance, and she wanted me to come too, even though I didn't need one. I was indecisive, because of course you were. It would be nice to get out of town with some girlfriends, but Lauren would be there. And who knew what I would be doing tonight? Oh my. But that was definitely the wrong path to let my mind wander down. Of course I was happy about the sunlight, but that wasn't completely responsible for the euphoric mood I was in. Not even close. Oh, here we go with the euphoria again. What, have you finally realized religion is a lie?
A vampire.
And that atheism is the superior path to take in life?
Yeah.
I'm an atheist, but I still enjoy harping on internet atheists.
Yeah, though.
And their stupid neckbeards and their cheap katanas.
They're cheap katanas, what?
Yeah, haven't you ever noticed, like, every neckbeard atheist owns, like, a cheap katana or something?
I don't
A lot
watch,
of them do.
I tend to not watch a lot of those. I don't tend to watch a lot of neckbeard atheists.
Why, you think I do? I mean, there is the Bible
How do
Reloaded, I guess.
Then how do you
But they don't
know
have-
they have cheap katanas?
Memes. The
That's just neckbeards
memes?
that's just neckbeard fandoms in general.
Well, yeah, but let's face it. The other part of that group of stereotypes is that they're all like internet atheists.
Okay, yeah.
So I gave her a maybe, telling her I'd have to walk with. No, I'd have to walk with. No, I'd have to talk with Charlie first. I can read. I swear.
This book
Oh,
has
wait.
enough typos without you adding them.
Shut up.
So she has to go to the rice fields to go talk to Charlie. Okay.
Did somebody say rice?
Well,
Don't you get it?
If I said no, would I still get rice? Would I still get a bowl of rice?
No. You get rice patties.
Then I'm going to say yes. But secretly know that the answer's no.
You can't think of it like you were in the rice patties seeing Charlie.
Oh, that Charlie. That's right.
yes.
That's racist. It's not actually racist, but you get the idea. She talked of nothing but the dance on the way to Spanish, continuing as if without an interruption when class finally ended 5 minutes late, and we were on our way to lunch. I was far too lost in my own frenzy of anticipation to notice much of what she said. I was painfully eager to see not just him. Okay, for once the italicization here would actually be appropriate, because otherwise we have no idea who you're talking about. Until you say, but all the Cullens. To compare them with the new suspicions that plagued my mind. Your dib is showing. I can make Invader Zim references again, because suddenly it's culturally relevant.
Oh, I mean,
That's
there's
true.
talk it's getting a movie.
Exactly. Like, seriously. Invader Zim is back.
Arnold's gonna be getting a movie.
Invader Zim's getting a movie. Hey Arnold's getting a movie. Let's see. Oh yeah, Green Day released a new album, and it's good.
It's early 2000s all over again.
It is!
Gorilla's getting a TV show.
Oh god, yes, Gorillaz.
Wait, what?
You didn't hear about them getting a TV show?
Oh!
It was announced
I mean,
shortly after their album dropped.
I mean, I only just found out about the TV show today, so I really don't blame you there.
Well, like, there were a couple of rumors leading up to the album's release, but when the album actually dropped shortly thereafter, they confirmed it.
I didn't know that.
There you
And
go.
I want it to be good, but at the same time, we'll be perfectly happy if it's bad. Because, not that I recall,
Okay.
but, like, if there's any subject matter that could get away with having a bad cartoon, it would be Gorillaz. This cartoon sucks. I can't stop watching. It's poetic. Basically, they can't fail with it.
Really screw up and how they just really screwed up or not.
Anyway, as I thrust the threshold, yes. As I crossed the threshold of the cafeteria, I felt the first true tingle of fear slither down my spine and settle in my stomach. Yeah, I feel the same way every time I see Tingle.
Oh, it's Tingle. What do you expect?
Where does he inflate that balloon from? Would they be able to know what I was thinking? And then a different feeling jolted through me. Would Edward be waiting to sit with me again? As was my routine, I glanced first toward the Cullens' table. A shiver of panic trembled in my stomach as I realized it was empty. With dwindling hope, my eyes scoured the rest of the cafeteria, hoping to find him alone waiting for me. The place was nearly filled. Spanish had made us late. But there was no sign of Edward or any of his family. Desolation hit me with crippling strength. I really need to get the world's smallest violin on this soundboard.
Totally.
Until then, we have the world's smallest kazoo.
I
And a
don't have
train!
I don't have a kazoo, but
It
the
kind
train
of...
makes for an automatic train whistle.
And the way you did that It sounded a little bit kazoo-ish, so. Yes, exactly. I shambled along behind Jessica. Brains. Not bothering to listen anymore. We were late enough that everyone was already at our table. I avoided the empty chair next to Mike in favor of one by Angela. I vaguely noticed that Mike held the chair out politely for Jessica and that her face lit up in response. Congratulations, Bella, you're now a matchmaker. Good job. Not even lying, actually. Good job. Good job.
Shut up, train.
Not even lying. Good job. Thumbs up. You actually did something good for someone. Don't fuck it up!
Too late.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Angela asked a few quiet questions about the Macbeth paper, which I answered as naturally as I could while spiraling downward in misery. How could this happen to me?
I know.
How could this happen to me?
She, too, invited me to go with them tonight, and I agreed now, grasping at anything to distract myself. I realized I'd been holding on to a last shred of hope when I entered biology, saw his empty seat, and felt a new wave of disappointment. I mean, better than a new wave of Eastern European turbo folk music. The train is totally part of the soundtrack, too. Toot!
Man, this train is just wanting attention today. Sheesh.
How far are you from the tracks again? Pretty far, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm fairly far.
Oh, shit. Sound really travels out in the flatlands, doesn't it?
Hold on a sec. Let's say maybe I'm like 5-6 blocks away from it.
Oh, is that all? That's
Yeah.
not actually that far.
It's a small town. It's just, for us, it's far.
Like, I'm just saying, if I can...
Because the people who made this town were completely stupid, as they figured the best thing to do would be to use have the railroad made to cut the town in half.
Well, I mean, like, way back in the day, that would have made sense, because, you know, late 19th, early 20th century, the most reliable and most widely used form of long-distance transportation was the train, so generally speaking, towns around that time period would kind of all crop up around the train station. And that would kind of be the center of town. Of course, these days...
We don't even have train stations, I don't think.
Well, maybe not anymore.
Not nowhere close to us, I think. Not that I noticed.
Well, probably not anymore, no, but that's because rail travel is widely fallen out of favor with the advent of the car and the interstate.
Until the Hyperloop becomes a thing.
Oh. Thank you, based Elon.
In which case, I'm fine with that.
Oh, yeah. I like trains.
Because if you can use that to travel to the other point to another point of the country in little time whatsoever.
Thank you, Mordreen. Yeah, I am really looking forward to the Hyperloop, actually. I think that's going to be really neat. Bonus points if it's cheaper than flying. Which it damn well better be. Because otherwise that kind of defeats the purpose. Although it would arguably be quicker than flying. Like, I think with like the projected speeds, it'll be a little bit slower point to point than a plane would be, but at the same time, there's a lot less rigmarole between, there's a lot less rigmarole leading up to and after traveling, so technically it'll be faster.
Let's put it like this: if you want to be successful with the Hyperloop, then just do an advertisement saying Hyperloop, because we're not united. and show the video of the doctor just getting pulled out.
Just kill me. Just kill me. Just kidding me.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Hyperbole.
I feel.
Hyperbole. We're not united.
I do feel sorry for that guy though.
Yeah.
Seriously, first he gets the piss. First he gets the shit beat out of him on a flight that he paid for,
Mhm.
and then he gets mistaken for a completely different doctor with a similar name, who happened to also be like
The doctor.
all kinds of horrible.
I mean, seriously, the news around that point was just a big fuck you to the Flyers.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Like you had that the baby stroller incident.
Scorpion incident.
Wait, there was a Scorpion incident.
Yeah, Scorpion fell out of an overhead container on a. Would you be surprised to hear it was a United flight?
Well, the baby stroller story was also a United flight,
Oh yeah.
and then there was a Delta flight where a guy and his family, his wife, and I think his 2 kids, were being told they had to get off the plane.
Oh, I remember that one. And then there was the Japan Airlines flight where somebody who looked like who looked like the most stereotypical American tourist I've ever seen decided to drunkenly pick a fight with somebody who looked like a U.S. soldier.
Yes.
Results were pretty much exactly what you'd expect.
Yes, that was stupid.
Yeah. It's like, and he kept coming back too. It was like Chumbawamba. I get knocked down, and I get up again. I get knocked down again, and back up again, and knocked down again, and it's a bit like watching someone play whack-a-mole, actually.
Just look, if he really wants a vacation, just send him to the Fire Festival.
Not again. The fucking concierge desk. Twilight.
The dash con for the spoiled.
Anyway, Twilight.
Who cares about Twilight?
Well, nobody, but I gotta get through this chapter eventually, and I'd like to do that tonight. Anyway. Spiraling downward in misery, inviting, distracting. I realized I'd been holding on to the last shred of hope. Biology, yes. The rest of the day passed slowly, dismally. In gym, we had a lecture on the rules of badminton. The next torture they had lined up for me. At least
Badminton.
Yeah, at least badminton birdies? Shuttlecocks? Shuttlecocks, that's what they're called. Because it's a British sport, so of course everything sounds like an innuendo.
First the badminton cabinet, and then Canada.
Yeah, at least those don't hurt. But at least it meant I got to sit and listen instead of stumbling around on the court. The best part was the coach didn't finish, so I got another day off tomorrow. Never mind that the day after they would arm me with a racket before unleashing me on the rest of the class. If you're as clumsy as you claim to be, I doubt you'll even be able to hit the damn thing. Also, again, shuttlecocks, not painful. In fact, badminton rackets, not painful. Damn things are fragile, actually. It's like hitting somebody with a fly swatter, effectively pointless.
Now a kendo stick.
Ah, yes, the kendo stick.
Or a barbed wire baseball bat.
Ah, yes, old Lucy.
Or the Fleming table.
Ah, yes, Seamus's weapon of choice.
I am the table.
Not that Seamus. Unless he also does that, in which case, cool.
Oh no, the table should. No, that's just an inside joke for Botchamania, where the wrestler will try to slam another wrestler into a table and it doesn't break. They slam him, it just doesn't break, and then it just pauses and you hear someone yell, "I am the table." It's gotten so popular that it's become its own chant in wrestling deals.
Awesome.
Where if the table doesn't break, they just go yell, "I am the table" in certain indie events.
I fucking love Botchamania.
I think it's especially popular in Britain.
Because of course it is. These are the same people who decided to shout, "Who ate all the pies? Who ate all the pies? You fat bastard, you fat bastard, you ate all the pies!" at the big show. For the last time, I am not fat!
I mean, he was the New Year's baby. No, I'm dead serious.
I know, that's why I'm laughing and remembering.
Had the diaper on and everything.
Oh, they do not pay him enough. Anyway.
I mean, they still keep him with a job.
They still don't pay him enough, though. The long-suffering Big Show. Yes.
So for real life reasons, I'm gonna head off now.
Alrighty. Night, dude.
Night.
Good night.
And now it's just the two biggest goofballs in the entire group. Mind you, before that it was the three biggest goofballs in the entire group, but still.
Doomed.
That we're doomed. Shirkadirkadirk. Right. I was glad to leave campus, so I would be free to pout and mope before I went out tonight with Jessica and company. I'm running out of emo music references. Cut it out.
All around me are worn out faces.
Familiar faces.
Worn out
places.
I don't care. Or hello, darkest, my old friend.
Ooh, yes, that's a good one. I always forget about that one.
I come to talk with you again.
But right after I walked in the door of Charlie's house, Jessica called to cancel our plans. I tried to be happy that Mike had asked her out to dinner. I really was relieved that he finally seemed to be catching on, but my enthusiasm sounded false in my own ears. She rescheduled our shopping trip for tomorrow night. You mean the next night? Because you're still getting it. Hiccup. What am I, Rick Sanchez?
Now he burps.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that too.
Look, what you don't understand is that it needs to be forced sometimes. You know.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Having fun?
I can't stop it.
Oh, no. Quick, get the space walking!
Wow.
She rescheduled our shopping trip for the next night. Thank you, Stephanie. Get your verb tense right. Which left me with little in the way of distractions. That's not a sentence. That's also not a very good way to start the next paragraph. Oh my god. Is this just the formatting error episode? Or is that every episode? I think that's every episode.
That's every episode.
Yeah, that's every episode. I had fish marinating for dinner, with a salad and bread left over from the night before, so there was nothing to do there. I spent a focused half hour on homework, but then I was through with that too. I checked my email, reading the backlog of letters from my mother, getting snippier as they progressed to the present. I sighed and typed a quick response. Mom, again, not quoted, no quotes. Sorry I've been out. I went to the beach with some friends, and I had to write a paper. My excuses were fairly pathetic, so I gave up on that. See, the way you've got that written because there's no, quotation marks there. It sounds like my excuses were fairly pathetic, so I gave up on that, is part of the letter. That's a problem. It's sunny outside today. I know, I'm shocked too. So I'm going to go outside and soak up as much vitamin D as I can. I love you, Bella. Did somebody just come in?
Oh, hey, Wendy.
Oh, hi, Wendy.
Hello.
Well, we finally have Wendy, just as I'm about to finish the chapter, I think. Yeah, pretty much.
We traded an owl. We traded a bug for an owl.
Well, I consider that trading up. That's because owls are adorable and floofy.
Yeah, I figure judging by the time, I missed a lot.
Yep.
Well, that's what happens. Well, that's what happens when I go to bed at noon and wake up at 10:15.
I had a feeling you were still having issues with. I had a feeling you were still having sleep issues. You had a rough weekend of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, Miss Mush. Just my name is Jeb.
Yeah. Well, I imagine anything you missed you can pick up on later. But mostly it's just been Bella like, is he really a vampire? He can't really be a vampire. Is he really a vampire? He can't really be a vampire.
And blaming all of Forks.
The most detestable of cutlery!
And the entire West Coast for her vampire addiction.
Vampire addiction. Addiction.
Next.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I don't see how this became such a big hit. I mean, I get.
Do
I can only assume it's just the idea of fantasy. I'm guessing, but still, this isn't good.
Nope.
I mean, with the way you've been complaining about the writing format, it's italics everywhere.
I have seen more editing fails in this one chapter than I have in the rest of the book. It's redonkulous.
And everything just seems so slow. Shut up, doggy.
Oh, it's a puppy!
It's Jacob.
It's Jacob. Jacob, what happened? How'd you get a sex change?
What's that, Jacob? Timmy's fallen in the well.
Oh my.
Oh, doggo.
Yeah, it's just just not good. I'm getting from this so far. It's so slow.
We're not done with this chapter yet. Unbelievably, I know. So
I'm not even talking about the chapter. I'm not even talking about the chapter. I'm talking about the book so far. It's just
I know.
slow to get anywhere.
I'm just saying it might be nice to save that discussion for the wrap up.
Yeah, I know. Just yeah.
In the meantime, let's get back to whatever's left of this. Okay.
Well, this is a short ass chapter. Like
What, chapter 7?
yeah.
Hasn't felt that short.
That's
Yeah,
because we
I
got
know.
off
I
topics.
just scrolled through really quickly to like count at the pages, and holy shit. Like yeah, like you said, it hasn't felt that short because of all the editing fails, but
Yeah. I decided to
we
kill
got off topic a lot.
that too, but that's normal for us. I decided to kill an hour with non-school related reading. I had a small collection of books that came with me to Forks, the shabbiest volume being a compilation of the works of Jane Austen. Ugh! Of course! Of fucking course! She reads Jane Austen. I don't know what I was expecting!
Why?
I selected that one and headed...
my major author class that I took in college was Jane Austen. I feel, and she's reading this.
Ah!
I feel insulted right now.
Why? Why would you do this to yourself?
This is like someone reading a Crucible, and this is like someone reading the Crucible and having to write a page about how it's positive.
Oh yeah, I remember having to do that.
Wait, seriously?
No, not seriously.
Okay.
But I do remember someone trying to write a positive spin on it.
I mean, I've read the Crucible, and I've watched the movie, and we had to watch the movie based around it. Oh God, I hated that movie.
Giles Corey is best waifu.
All the screaming.
I mean,
Like half the dialogue in that movie was just them screaming.
I just appreciate Giles Corey being a badass old man, honestly.
Oh, well, he was really the only good character in it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the most badass badass death too. More. Wait.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, well, enough reminiscing fondly on otherwise bad literature. Let's keep going with, well, bad literature.
Shut up, Jacob.
Anyway, I selected that one and headed to the backyard, grabbing a ragged old quilt from the linen cupboard at the top of the stairs on my way down. Seriously, are you like... I swear to God, she acts like a 30-year-old. Or a 40-year-old. Which, either way, is appropriate considering who wrote this. Outside in Charlie's small, square yard, I folded the quilt in half and laid it out of the reach of the tree's shadows on the thick lawn that would always be slightly wet, no matter how long the sun shone. I lay on my stomach, crossing my ankles in the air, flipping through the different novels in the book, trying to decide which would occupy my mind the most thoroughly. My favorites were Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility. Fuck you! Dear sweet merciful fucking Christ,
Okay, see,
no.
I'm not. Yeah, see, it's like those books were bad, but I didn't read those books outside of I certainly didn't read those books in my free time.
I just...
Shut up, Jacob.
What little I know of Pride and Prejudice at the very least, from what little I know about it, it just sounds insufferable.
Yeah.
Like, isn't the whole thing basically just rich women gossiping?
No.
Oh, must be thinking of something similarly named but different. I don't care. I'd read the first most recently, so I started into Sense and Sensibility, only to remember after I began that the hero of the story happened to be named Edward. Oh my god. You are a... This woman is fucking obsessed!
Wait, what? Okay, it's been a while since I read them, but it's like, what guy in Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility was named Edward? What?
Also, did you really need to italicize that? Did you really need to italicize that?
Yes.
Shut up.
It's Edward.
Angrily, I turned to Mansfield Park, which is, better than turning to Tappan Park. Staten Island. But the hero of that piece was named Edmund, again unnecessarily italicized, and that was just too close. Well, shit, all we need now is a protagonist in a Jane Austen novel named Edwin, and we can recreate Ed, Edd, and Eddy in the Victorian era. I'd almost watch that. Weren't there any other names available in the late 18th century? Oh, excuse me, not Victorian. That would be more what? No, that would be Victorian, I guess.
Let's see.
I don't know.
Edward, Edwin.
Edgardo?
Edgardo. Wait.
Edgar.
Edward, Edwin, and Edgar.
Yeah. And Edmund. We have many options. For Ed.
Chickens. I like it the chickens.
No. I enjoy
Edward.
No, I'm gonna take a quote from my father for this one. I enjoy poultry. Okay. I snapped the book shut, annoyed, and rolled over onto my back. I pushed my sleeves up as high as they would go and closed my eyes. I would think of nothing but the warmth on my skin, I told myself severely. The breeze was still light, but it blew tendrils of my hair around my face, and that tickled a bit. Do you have tentacle hair? Are you an inkling, Bella Swan?
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
I love. Doop-a-doo. I pulled all my hair over my head, letting it fan out on the quilt above me, and focused again on the heat that touched my eyelids, my cheekbones, my nose, my lips, my neck, my back, my pussy, my crack. We get it!
I love.
I already used that one. But I do have the next best thing.
Next.
Yeah. Dicks. The next thing I was conscious of was the sound of Charlie's cruiser turning onto the bricks of the driveway. I sat up in surprise, realizing the light was gone behind the trees, and I had fallen asleep. I looked around, muddled with the sudden feeling that I wasn't alone. Well, no, you weren't. No, you're clearly not alone. Your dad just got home. Watches her dad pull into the driveway. I have the strangest feeling suddenly that I'm not alone. Well, gee, I wonder if that car pulling into the driveway has anything to do with it.
Plot twist, it's not Bella's father.
It's Ed.
Hi, everybody!
Oh, good. He knew which Ed I was talking about. Thank you. Charlie? I asked. But I could hear his door slamming in front of the house. I jumped up, foolishly edgy, gathering the now damp quilt in my book. I ran inside to get some oil heating on the stove. Blech. It's been that long a night, guys. Realizing that dinner would be late, Charlie was hanging up his gun belt and stepping out of his boots when I came in. And I've talked about the gun belt thing before, so I won't go over it again. Sorry, Dad, dinner's not ready yet. I fell asleep outside. I stifled a yawn. Don't worry about it, he said. I wanted to catch the score on the game anyway. I watched TV with Charlie after dinner for something to do. There wasn't anything on I wanted to watch, but he knew I didn't like basketball, so he turned it to some mindless sitcom that neither of us enjoyed. He seemed happy, though, to be doing something together. And it felt good, despite my depression, to make him happy. See? Being a good person isn't a terrible thing. Do it more often! Dad, I said during a commercial, Jessica and Angela are going to look at dresses tomorrow for the dance. Are going to look at dresses for the dance tomorrow night in Port Angeles, and they wanted me to come help them choose.
No.
Do you mind if I go with them? Jessica Stanley? He asked. And Angela Weber. I sighed as I gave him the details. He was confused. But you're not going to the dance, right? No, Dad, but I'm helping them find dresses. You know, giving them constructive criticism. I wouldn't have to explain this to a woman. Somehow I don't think it's going to be very constructive.
Somehow, I don't think it would even matter.
Yeah. Well, okay. He seemed to realize that he was out of his depth with the girly stuff. It's a school night, though. We'll leave right after school so we can get back early. You'll be okay for dinner, right? Bells, I fed myself for 17 years before you got here, he reminded me. I don't know how you survived, I muttered, then added more clearly. I'll leave some things for cold-cut sandwiches in the fridge, okay? Right on top. Bitch!
Wow, bitch.
Eh. It was sunny again in the morning. Clearly, it's not just the cuts that are cold, you know?
Seriously.
Yeah, that was a bit of a bad one. Oh well. It was sunny again in the morning. I awakened with renewed hope that I grimly tried to suppress. I dressed for the warmer weather in a deep blue V-neck blouse, something I'd worn in the dead of winter in Phoenix. Wow. In the 75-degree winter. You tell him. You tell him, doggo. I had planned my arrival at school so that I barely had time to make it to class. With a sinking heart, I circled the... I almost said a sinking fart. I circled the full lot looking for a space, while also searching for the silver Volvo that was clearly not there. I parked in the last row and hurried to English, arriving breathless but subdued before the final bell. It was the same as yesterday. I just couldn't keep little sprouts of hope from budding in my mind, only to have them squashed painfully as I searched the lunchroom in vain and sat at my empty biology table. All around me are familiar faces.
We already did that one.
Hello, darkness, my old
We
friend.
already did that one.
Um. Father Rain, take my hand.
Okay, we haven't done that one.
I should hope not. It doesn't work. Yeah. Okay. The Port Angeles scheme was back on for tonight and made all the more attractive by the fact that Lauren had other obligations. Yeah, because Lauren's such a bitch. You can't see it, Bella, but I'm grumble facing at you. I was anxious to get out of town so I could stop glancing over my shoulder, hoping to see him appearing out of the blue the way he always did. I vowed to myself that I would be in a good mood tonight and not ruin Angela's or Jessica's enjoyment in dress hunting. Maybe I could do a little clothes shopping as well. I refused to think that I might be shopping alone in Seattle this weekend, no longer interested in the earlier arrangement. Who was no longer interested in the earlier arrangement? Seriously, work on your sentence structure! Jesus fucking Christ! Surely he wouldn't cancel without at least telling me. Like, okay, we all know who you're talking about, but what is with your aversion to using the name, Stephanie? You're willing to use everybody else's names. For whatever reason, you always refer to Jacob by his full name. After school, Jessica followed me home in her old white Mercury so that I could ditch my books and truck. I brushed through my hair quickly when I was inside, feeling a slight lift of excitement as I contemplated getting out of Forks. I left a note for Charlie on the table, explaining again where to find dinner, switched my scruffy wallet from my school bag to a purse I rarely used, and ran out to join Jessica. We went to Angela's house next, and she was waiting for us. My excitement increased exponentially as we actually drove out of the town limits. And we're done! Thank fuck. That was a goddamn endurance run, that was.
Yes.
That has to be one of the most painful chapters we've been through thus far. Not least of which because fuck all happened. Like, literally fuck all happened.
Now, this was one of the worst chapters in this book. Probably one of the worst chapters I've ever read, I've ever listened to. Yeah. I can go on all tirade on this thing, but besides the fact that it's how it was horribly written at times.
God, just at times.
I wasn't even. I don't have the PDF. I can't say.
I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure there are more faulty sentences than there were actually fully intact ones. And
even so.
Like, sure, some of that might just be from the PDF. You know, from whatever process was used to convert the whole thing to a PDF. Maybe that was, like, faulty in some way or another in places. But after Show Row, we already know that at least some of these are actually in the source book.
Mm-hmm.
And if I read that in a book that I was reading, that book would not be on my shelf anymore.
And not only that, but especially how just dragged out it went on.
The pacing,
nothing happened.
Seriously, the pacing in this book is all over the goddamn place. Like, we'll have entire chapters where literally nothing happens, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, everything will happen.
Exactly. And this chapter alone just proves my points on how the father is a tragic character in my eyes.
He's such a good dude.
He's a good guy. He just wants to spend time with his daughter.
Mustache.
And then
mustache dad for life.
then Bella just comes off a complete bitch.
Yeah.
To him.
Yeah.
If this was any other character, this would be an antagonistic based character, but it's not.
Seriously.
And it only just makes him more tragic than anything else as the book goes on, seeing how she falls for Edward and marries him. And he just gives up. You could just
And I mean, I can hardly blame the guy.
I can't blame him either, but it's just it's the first book that really makes it sound like he just wants to have a better connection with his daughter.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't, to the point to where I don't even think he appears much after like the second or third book. Does he?
Well, hell if I know. This is the only book I've read so far.
Just going by just going by thoughts.
Yeah. Well, you ain't wrong, that's for sure.
Just
poor Mustache Dad.
Like he's the guy I root for in this.
Mustache lives matter, damn it.
I know. Why is it with people anymore that don't like beards? Or just hair in general? I like goatee.
That was supposed to be a throwaway joke, and you just rolled with it. Yes, we all have fun here, don't we? Even when it's something this stupid. Admittedly, this, honestly, like, this was that... I think there's, like, one chapter in all of these bad novels where even the riffing just... I'm not having fun. This is the I'm not having fun chapter.
Because, exactly, this was horrible.
Like, every other chapter, I've always managed to find something absolutely hilarious to focus on. This time, no, nothing.
I'm willing to bet I'm willing to bet that the next chapter isn't going to have much either.
Come to think of it, didn't we have the same issue with 50 Shades, like, kind of chapter 7-ish? Sort of had the same issue. Like, to the point that when we tried to record something for it, we had to stop, like, just a few minutes in because all it was doing was giving everyone a headache.
I think it was chapter 13.
Ah, well, I mean, still, my point stands. Also, Jesus Christ, there's 13 chapters in the first 50 Shades book.
13 chapters?
Well, more than 13 chapters, I should say. Because that was not the final chapter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, 13 chapters is pretty long for a book like that.
Especially considering how little actually happens.
Mm-hmm. Hearing that,
I really hope something happens in chapter 8, at least. Like, just give me something to work with here. Something stupid.
Like, that chapter just makes me want to... work on my own stuff now.
I don't know. Vampires playing baseball or something. I suddenly have the strangest feeling I'm going to regret saying that. Oh, no.
I wish, because I wish the Fantasy Writers Writing Challenge had a portion of that for their category this time.
What, vampires playing baseball?
No. What's going on is that the current one is take one element from column A and one element from column B and combine them into a fantasy short story.
Oh, so like column A. So like vampires in one column, baseball in the other.
Like, well, here it is. Column A is ordinary stuff. Column B is fantasy stuff. Both columns must be used.
Try some of column A, try all of column B. Let me take your order, jot it down.
To help you, dude. You ain't never had a friend like
there
me.
You go. But here's column A. It had handicrafts, gardening and landscaping, the internet, international international terrorism. Actually,
That-
wait a minute. Wait a
International-
minute.
International terrorism
Uh-oh.
with like a fantasy sort of setup. That could be interesting.
Oh yeah, I had an idea for something like that. But there's also professional sports. I could do it.
Oh my! Well, I should probably warn you now. It's already been done. That was the
Hold
joke.
on. Hold on. Professional sports, the space shuttle, publishing industry, bureaucracy, election time, or shopping.
Well, I mean, bureaucracy's also been done.
And
Sorry,
then column
goblins.
B has column B has death rays, witchcraft, werewolves.
Death race and bureaucracy.
talking swords, chaos magic.
And bureaucracy. Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
Talking swords.
The devil, sea serpents, knight in shining armor, maiden, mother, crone, and time travel.
I just like the idea of either death rays and bureaucracy or chaos magic and bureaucracy.
I had two different ideas. They were, but kind of the same thing, but different premises. Where it would either be chaos magic and international terrorism, or time travel and international terrorism.
I think the second one's already been done. Is the thing.
Oh, it has?
Yeah. In fact, I think it was done in Doctor Who.
Actually, maybe the devil and
That does
international
not
terrorism would work better.
surprise me.
Could be. Or death rays.
Because
Well, no,
'cause
death rays and international terrorism is way played out.
I did have an idea where this terrorist group was trying to give birth to their new leader. Kidnapped someone and got them pregnant to try and give birth to their new leader.
I mean,
And it'd be up to the Raven Guard to try and stop them before it happens.
Another installment in the Invel's canon.
Well, this is modern day stuff, really.
What?
So in this case, it'd be taking place around the time that if we ever get to Shadowrun is where it's going to be taking place.
Right. That could be cool. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Let me know when you do. I'll put it on our Facebook. I'll link to it on the Facebook, and maybe get you a little bit more viewership.
It depends. I'm still working things out. I'm thinking either Devil and Chaos Magic along with international terrorism. If I wanted to go the comedy route, I would go with professional sports and werewolves.
Professional werewolf wrestling. So basically professional wrestling.
No, this is ECW. This is Sci-Fi's ECW, the original concept. Because you see, back when ECW came back, it was going to be on Sci-Fi, and the original concept that Sci-Fi wanted to do was to have it based around like monsters and aliens and supernatural stuff.
Good old Siffy, because you can't just have sharks, you gotta have a Sharknado.
Like they wanted to bring Undertaker and Kane into it. Have all these other creatures like the zombie.
Wrestling zombies. That sounds like a uniquely bad idea.
It wasn't that good to begin with.
Although, here's a question. If you beat a zombie over the head with his own disembodied arm, is that use of a foreign object?
Maybe.
The question. These are important questions.
I mean, it probably depends on the promotion.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
I mean, if you have combat zombie wrestling, then maybe then it'll be free use.
Well, yeah, but then they're all zombies, so they're all too dumb to actually think of doing such a thing. They're just gonna
See, they kept combat zombie wrestling as the name, but they incorporated more supernatural beings as the promotion went on through the years.
Well, I guess that would be the only way to make it an actually viable system, yeah. I mean, you can only watch two dead guys shamble towards each other. You can only watch two, dead guys shamble towards and then grope each other for so long. Brains.
I mean, brains. Because while they were cheap to get as the wrestlers, they're not exactly the smartest things. Like, sure, you have your necromancer go and bring out a few hundred people from the grave.
Well, I mean,
but it's not gonna last long.
I mean, then again, neither were the what were those two brothers' names? I forget. Doesn't matter. That joke fell flat. Okay, I tried. I failed. It happens. Ooga booga.
Although, I know next month they're doing something really interesting, if what I'm saying is true. At least the group I'm looking at.
What are they doing?
I just find the challenge calendar. Okay, I'm at the deal. Just give me a challenge calendar already.
Well, come on, we're on pins and needles here and running out of runtime.
I'm hurrying.
I'm kind of mostly kidding. We don't actually have a set runtime for these streams, but Lord knows I would like to end this one soon. Because I had 3 sodas during the entirety of this, and now all 3 of them went out.
Okay, so this one is called the Stack Soldier Challenge for June. Your challenge is to write your challenge is to write a fantasy story of 5,000 words or less where the main character is a soldier, not a mercenary or warrior. In addition to that, you may progressively add any of the following elements, but all preceding elements must also be present. For example, you cannot have number 3 without also having number 1 and 2 presented. 1. The main character is a female. The main gender identify as a female and have male genitalia if desired. 2. The world is mostly water, mainly islands or one small continent surrounded by ocean. 3. Include a kraken, literally metaphorically or as the name of a pub. Or 4. Have no mention of pirates. And 4. Have no mention of pirates.
Huh.
And I actually got a story that could actually work in that kind of setting.
Yeah. I could see something coming to that. I personally could definitely write I could write like a sci-fi naval type thing with that. Throwing some giant robots that turn into giant ships.
There's going to be, what's going to be happening is it's also going to be a modern setting for the Thesian deal. Where the idea is that the two of the smaller nations are at war. It's an island nation, one of the inland nations are at war. It's a big naval battle for the most part.
All right, which one of you bastards is doing laundry?
I'm not doing laundry.
Well, somebody's doing laundry.
What, do you hear a do? That's my fan.
Okay.
I turned it down, so.
Well, there's your problem.
But yeah, I'm thinking like an island nation, inland nation are at war with each other. It's nothing but just a big naval war at the moment. Since the navies are kind of equally matched.
Oop, we lost Windy.
Windy, no!
Wendy, come back. You can blame it all on me. Except no, because I'm the one with the strongest internet connection here.
But as they're fighting, they awaken a underwater guardian of the waters.
Release the Kraken.
The Kraken gets released. Destroys everything.
That's kind of what I had in mind, actually, more or less.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that. I haven't entirely. I'm still kind of working out the kinks for it.
See, I'm thinking like a naval kind of kaiju sort of thing. You know, little Pacific Rim, little uh, space battleship Yamato, some Mobile Suit Gundam, just for flavor.
So it's basically Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Well, yes, but like, you don't find out it's Pacific Rim until like, you don't find out it's like a kaiju thing until really near the end. And I haven't decided yet whether said kaiju would be an actual kaiju or like some giant mechanical monstrosity accidentally unleashed by one side or the other. Either way, I'm tempted to go more than just like unreasonably gigantic squid and just go straight into kind of Lovecraftian territory.
Yeah.
Because that's always fun.
Actually,
Maybe.
wait a minute. I don't think that. Wait a minute. This isn't gonna work for me. Because the world has to mostly be water. And my world isn't mostly water.
Yeah. I was thinking like I was thinking like a pseudo post-apocalyptic Earth where like the few surviving nations that had high enough ground to, actually, basically the idea of polar ice caps melted, flooded the Earth. So only like a scant few nations even have any real landmass left.
Mm-hmm.
And those are usually what little is left or what used to be like large mountain ranges. It's basically Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, but with battleships.
You can also say it's the world sinks except Japan.
Well, I mean, Japan is definitely one of the places that did not completely sink, although, an already small island nation rendered even smaller by the encroaching waters. Although not by much, actually. Good.
Have you actually heard of that movie?
I don't think I have. No.
It's an old movie from like, I don't know, the 70s, 80s, maybe early 90s at best. And it's about how the entire world sinks, but Japan stays afloat.
It's an anime, isn't it?
No.
Huh.
I think it's one of those. I think it's a Japanese movie, but it translated.
Oh, like live action?
Yeah.
Huh.
But it's not an animation.
Well, I 100% have not heard of that, and it wasn't really what I had in mind. But it'll be an interesting thing to keep in mind.
It's something that Cinema Snob needs to cover, because this sounds like it could be something around his area.
He does tend to review some pretty weird shit.
I mean, all he needs to do next is cover Neil Breen. God, Neil Breen.
Well, we're still streaming. We should probably not be streaming anymore.
we just probably for the best.
Yeah, we're coming up on the 4-hour mark here, so.
Yeah, guys, this is essentially what happens after a stream.
Yeah, it's just that tonight we got so tired that we forgot to actually end it.
I blame you.
Yeah, that's fair. So, if you liked what you saw tonight, do have a look down in the description where we have links to our Facebook and our Out of Context Tumblr page. Feel free to follow both of them. You'll be able to have a slightly more direct line of contact with us throughout the rest of the week. Hear about some of our side projects, like what Ifrit's been talking about here. And, of course, with the Out of Context blog, if you happen to hear any particular gems tonight that you want immortalized in print forever, just send them on over there, and Cake, the one who looks after that particular Tumblr, will eventually probably get around to posting them, maybe. But that's it for this week. So until next week, thank you all very much for watching. End of line.